Power on.
No one told you life was gonna be this way.
When it comes to one-year-old Mariah Cartavius, you are not.
Space, a final frontier. It's 5 years.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Happy Monday. You're listening to Now Trending right here on 24/7 Miami Radio. You can find us at www.247miami.tv. You can also find us on Facebook. We are streaming live right now on facebooklive.com/Now Trending 247. You can also find us over at Twitter. Same thing, Now Trending 247. So welcome everybody to the show. Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land. Everybody say hello. Hello. Good, everybody out there. So let's get started. Again, it's Monday. It is October 16th. We have had a long weekend, exciting weekend, lots of things to talk about today. So again, I'm Joy Canizero, your host of Now Trending. Let me introduce everybody. Siobhan, lovely Siobhan. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. Thank you.
Thank you. And we've got Chris Metal.
Hello, everybody.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Just tell hello to whoever's on your phone also.
Oh, there's nobody there? It's on the old silent mode.
Gotcha. And where can we find you at, Drew? Chris Metal, when you're not here?
ChrisMetalRadio.com.
That's it. He's at ChrisMetalRadio.com. And then we have Drew running things today.
Hello.
Drew is in charge of producing Now Trending.
Hello.
So he's in charge of sounds and our voices.
Hello.
How you doing today, Drew?
Doing good. How about you guys?
I'm doing great. Thank you. So Drew went for the weekend to Atlanta, Georgia for a wedding. Whose wedding was it, Drew?
It was my wife's niece's wedding.
My wife's niece's wedding. Okay.
So your niece?
Yes,
your
my
niece.
niece.
Yes. Thank you for simplifying that,
It's
Chris.
like a family now. You're married.
Yes, through yes, exactly.
And how was it?
Very good, very good. Wonderful stories to tell for the rest of our lives, and a great little wedding.
Like what kind of stories? Give us one.
Yeah.
It's really good. Okay, so here's a story. So my sister-in-law.
Within time.
Oh. Okay, long story short, they got to the airport, got there on time, but because of security, got there late, missed the flight, had to take another plane to Dallas, and the wedding's in Atlanta. So they had to go all the way to Dallas, got to Dallas.
What? Out of the way.
Yeah, got to Dallas, had to wait, missed a couple of planes because of the time again. Then they ended up separating, so all four of them, because there were four of them traveling, two went one plane, another one another plane, and another one another plane. So maybe long story short, they left house 8 hours before we did. We got there 3 hours before they did. So it was a really weird day for them.
Well, at least they got there.
Yes, they did eventually get there on time, yes.
They did, as long as everything played out well. Nobody came in and objected to the wedding.
No.
There was no family drama. Nothing good. Give us the good details. The stuff people really want to hear.
This is family friendly.
Oh, I can't. But it was a good wedding. It really was very nice, very peaceful. It was in a warehouse, an old warehouse that they had revamped and made into the studio so they can shoot things. And
right.
One of them being a wedding. They had a wedding, a reception there, the whole 9 yards. It was very, very nice. It really was. The warehouse was really old. You can tell it was old because of the flooring, the wood with the shellac over it and stuff like that. It was very, very nice.
Awesome.
Very, very nice.
I do. Sounds like you had a great time. We're glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Over the weekend, Siobhan and I attended the 2017 22nd Annual Susan G. Komen Miami Fort Lauderdale Race for the Cure. Say that 3 times.
You really include every detail.
I
in
do.
your intro.
I think it is. I know. But we attended the Race for the Cure. Siobhan, did you have a good time?
I did. It was so exciting. A lot of fun.
We met a lot of exciting people. We talked to a lot of amazing people. Just as we have over the past few months, we've been talking, to survivors. We've been talking to people from Susan G. Komen. So it just made it more special to be part of the event and then to speak to these people, in person. We did get to meet with Susan G. Komen's sister, Nancy Brinker, who is the founder of the Susan G. Komen Foundation. So she did sit down with us and she had a few words with us. There were other people like politicians such as Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
And but we kept politics out of it. When she was
we did.
Chris was shaking his head. And when they were asking her if she would have a few words with us, of course I overheard her speaking like, who are they? What do they want to know? And so I just yelled
Oh,
over.
I didn't hear her say
You
that.
did, yeah, that's what I was hearing, and that's why I yelled over to her. Don't worry, no politics today. And then she came running over to our tent and gave us a really good interview.
She did a really nice interview, and she it was not political at all.
Yeah, no politics at all. Again, we weren't there for that. But again, we had a lot of amazing people. We had CBS 4 News people that Drew works with.
Drew's cohorts.
Yeah, so we got to have a good time with them talking about Drew with them.
Story I told you.
And then we had a singer up from Trinidad and Tobago, and we just had other survivors. We had board members. It was just a really great day.
Joy found a new boyfriend who owns not only a
Oh,
dealership and an art museum.
he was your friend.
No, he wasn't touching me as much.
He is Barry Allen, and he is the
No,
chairman.
Alan Young.
Alan Young.
Where'd you get
Barry.
Barry
Alan Young, because I know.
You're gonna call him the wrong name?
I didn't
No.
know, but I'm getting his title correct because he is the chairman for the South Florida Ford dealers.
You get his name correct. That
think
helps, you know.
Well, I mean, all his touching on me, there was more touching going on than talking. And then he just kept saying in the microphone, I like to talk, but he really liked to touch. And that's so odd. And like I said, so we got some invites to some really nice things happening in the
So
future.
apparently you got a better weekend than I did.
Any stories, Joy?
No, but we had a good time. No, it was really respectful and it was a really great day. So during the show, even after, we're going to give some tips, some things that we learned just at the end of the show, just to spread awareness. This entire month is dedicated to breast cancer awareness. So even on our Facebook page, on our Twitter, every day we'll be posting interviews that we did at the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure. We'll be posting tips, anything that we can also do to help. Because again, there is a lot of things that opened our eyes and a lot of other people's eyes during this event that we really need to put into practice as we move forward in order to make a difference for this cure. And like Nancy Brinker is just so amazing. It was her idea and where she's come from. I mean, she's just a woman to sit next to a woman who has literally changed the world.
35 years.
35 years, and she's impacted the entire world. So again, it was just really nice meeting with her. It was her first time at the Miami race. I can say it here. It's something we didn't want to bring up there.
No.
Not for bad
But
reasons or anything else like that.
We
But
had kind of questioned out loud how many other races are going on. I mean, most of them happen in October,
Right.
which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I did a little looking, and there were several other races this weekend alone.
right.
So there was one in Baltimore. There was one, in I forget St. Louis maybe. There were at least 6 other cities this weekend who had a Race for
Right.
the Cure event. So she
So
can't be in every
place at one time. Absolutely. But this was her first time here at the Miami Fort Lauderdale Race for the Cure. So it was nice having her here, having her there. It was just a special day. Chris, you have anything exciting you did over the weekend?
Besides working and the Chris Metal Radio show? Not really.
Sounds exciting enough for me. I'm just joking. But guess what day it is?
What
Monday.
day is it, Joy?
It's Monday.
It's Global Cat Day.
Oh,
Well,
you love your cat.
I do. Everybody, my mom says hi. Mom, it's Global Cat Day. Let's have a party. What are you cooking tonight?
Cat.
But it is
is that
Global
the
Cat
Chinese?
Day, which has actually been around since 2001. Don't say that.
I just did.
But it was actually started as National Feral Cat Day, and then also
Feral.
Alley Cat Day.
Like Will
Wild.
Ferrell?
I know. I was
Like
like,
Will
No,
Ferrell?
feral, because what it is it was a day that was brought to bring attention to feral cats and things that we can do to stop overpopulation. And it goes even into detail into TNR, which is trap and release. A lot of, you don't have to take home a cat because you see one. You can actually leave it. Cats can actually kind of live on their own. But the purpose is to stop reproducing so we don't have so many feral cats. So they have what's TNR, trap and release. So you have lots of organizations. My mom does the same thing. And they go out and they collect cats. They actually take them to go get spayed and neutered. And then they actually bring them back to their habitat. So again, another place where we can make a difference.
Yep.
Wouldn't you all agree? But I just think it's a celebratory day. I'm gonna go home and celebrate my cats. Shout out to Mimi Macho Polo, and he's Macho Polo. That's his name. And Maji Day, Mimi, and Macho Polo. Because he was macho, but that Geico commercial, the Marco Polo. So I say Macho Polo.
Gotcha.
And see, and my cat is Angie's boyfriend. I've got cool cats, people. So moving forward with the news, we've got lots to talk about today. Significant progress has been made in Northern California over the weekend as firefighters continue to battle the wildfires that have now burned more than 220,000 acres of land across the north end of the state. It has taken more than 10,000 firefighters and favorable weather conditions for officials to finally see light at the end of the tunnel. However, they're still on edge as there are many variables that could ignite even more fires across the state. The death toll is currently at 41 and hundreds of people are still missing. Officials have also warned locals not to make any attempts to clean up debris as it can be very dangerous to your health. The state will be employing cleanup personnel once conditions are safe. Siobhan, how close are any of these fires? There's lots of fires burning. That's the one. Can you see how many?
Well, I can show you a little map.
And it just shows about half the state up in flames. Is the maps I've seen.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, it's getting better.
Yeah, it actually is. When I last saw it, there was a lot more. However, firefighters have taken out the two largest fires, which were like the Tubbs fire.
Under control.
Right, they're under control. That's what I want to say. Because again, it's hard for them to say that it's over and it's not over and done, but they do have control, and it can get out of control again.
Question,
go ahead.
what does it mean when you say under control?
Well, it's contained. It's not burning out of control. They've been able to contain part of it, and the more they contain it, the more control they have over it.
So I mean, it's in the area that they're okay with where it is, in other words.
No, it means it's not spreading. They're being able to stop it.
To stop it, right.
Okay. So just to make clear, because
you guys, I guess in Florida we don't deal with wildfires like
Not
we do in
much.
California.
Not that much.
Right, yeah.
Having grown up there, it's kind of just a normal part of life. Earthquakes, landslides, and fires.
Yeah, let's get over to California.
Yeah, but these fires that are so big in the news right now are about an hour and a half north of where my family lives. So it's not really affecting them directly, but they are getting a lot of the smoke and the ash.
They can see it pretty much, I guess.
I don't think they can see the smoke, definitely. And so it's, ash is raining down on all the surfaces, and it's really bad breathing conditions too.
It is, and that's why they also tell people not to go ahead and clean up themselves. It's not only just the ashes. Some of those ashes can also contain little, flints, little
embers.
Little embers is what I meant to say. And that's what they're worried about, even in the parts where they do have the fires under control, is that embers could go flying should the wind pick up, and start more fires. So at least right now, they said weather should be in their favor this week. They have rain coming in, cool weather, humidity just to make things more moist. And
according to my family, it's been like unseasonably hot there lately too,
right.
So that doesn't help conditions.
Like, do they know what started all the fires?
They don't know what started these ones. A lot of times it's a wayward cigarette being thrown from a car, or a campfire that was left burning. It could be lots of things. A lot of times it's just I'd say more times than not it's a cigarette thrown out of a car, which is unfortunate.
It is, because you're talking right now over 220,000 acres of land.
Mm-hmm.
They're using over 1 million gallons of repellent, what they use out of the helicopters.
Right.
Within a week, they're using over 1 million gallons.
Well, and this is a big tourist area. That's where, the
Napa, you're talking wine country.
So all the wine prices are going to go up now.
Well, yeah, because they can't produce any.
And it's a big tourist area, so people are obviously staying away and not going to be able to return to anything for tourism for quite a while. So.
And if you are planning a vacation in that area, it's best to stay out of that area. I read a very sad story over the weekend over a family who did go up there to vacation just for the weekend. And the elder parents, the fire ended up surrounding the house. They were trying to get out on the road, and it's basically a country road. So half the family was able to leave. It was like 3 cars going. Half the family was able to leave. The older parents a tree fell, and they couldn't go. So they went back to the house. They sat in the swimming pool with the fires going over them, which I wouldn't even know to do.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the elderly woman passed away because of all the smoke inhalation. But the older man actually survived just by staying in the swimming pool all that time.
Yeah, they're there for like 5 hours.
Yeah, did you see that story, Drew?
That was crazy.
It was. Yeah, it's fortunate that she did pass away. But again, they were just going up there. Here, these fires are going on. They've been going since October 8th.
Keep going.
And they had like a vacation house, and they went up there. Just if you read the article, the whole weekend they were barbecuing, swimming in the pool, and then they were going to go home on Monday.
I can't imagine doing that? I mean, because it's so smoky there. Like,
I
why would you
wouldn't.
be
Yeah,
outside?
I don't get.
I've been in conditions where there were fires close to my home, and we didn't have to evacuate yet. But you don't want to be outside because it's just you can't breathe.
Yeah, absolutely. So not sure what happened, but again, just stay out of that area. Don't clean up, and just wait for word from officials. So moving on, this story is a story for Drew. On our show sheet, I put this is going to be Drew's next job.
Bro.
You ready, Drew?
Yeah, go ahead.
Pornography publisher Larry Flint is offering up to $10 million to anyone who produces information that leads to President Donald Trump's impeachment and removal from office.
Take it back.
It's a double score. For
You had me out, dog. We split. You had me out, we split it. Trust me.
He lays out the offer in a full-page ad in the Sunday edition of the Washington Post.
Let me get creative writing here.
What kind of dirt is he looking for?
During last year's presidential campaign, Flint dangled $1 million to anyone who could turn over video or audio capturing Trump behaving in an illegal or sexually demeaning manner. That followed the release of the 2005 Access Hollywood
I was
video.
gonna say, didn't they already release that?
That's where, but that was when the elections were going on. So that's when the Access Hollywood video in which Trump bragged of imposing himself on women. So in Sunday's ad, Flint asked for any smoking gun that is fit to publish that drives Trump from offices. So the White House has still yet to comment.
So
Larry Flint could be your next boss, Drew.
this content has to come from a time during the election, or
No, it's anything that's
Anything in his
material.
past.
Just anything even in his past right now that can get him impeached.
but not from like during the actual election or campaign.
Correct. It doesn't have to be. He just
Okay.
wants information that is valid enough to get President Trump impeached. And he'll give you $10
Yeah,
million.
but just getting him impeached doesn't mean he's going to be taken out of office.
Right.
So what's the point of that?
Right, it's a whole process.
So, Drew, are you running for this job?
No, I'm not going for this job.
What? It sounds like
$10 million.
right up your alley.
Why bother?
Because I don't have any proof.
You sit back and watch the developments
I
rather
have to
than
make
go doing all the
it.
investigating and everything else that's going to go into it.
Yeah.
As much as he would enjoy it.
I turn it in and someone goes, it's a
No.
fake. And it's okay.
Well, President Trump must have really ticked Larry Flint off at some point in time for this man
Dude,
to go out
everybody's mad
and
at
offer $10
something.
million.
He's not a nice guy.
Ridiculous.
He's not a nice guy. I gotta say.
But I think like people's opinions were different of him prior to the election. I think more people actually liked him. They liked his persona. They liked to see him on TV. Everybody would run around yelling, "You're fired! You're fired!" and mocking him. And he's such a great guy because he was such an a-hole on the TV. But then when he becomes president, everybody hates him.
Not everybody.
You know, you were watching. What was his show?
The Apprentice?
The Apprentice. Who here watched The Apprentice?
I watched the first few seasons.
Yeah, I never.
Go ahead, Drew. That was your show, wasn't it?
I watched the first two. I'm not gonna lie.
He DVR'd it.
I was gonna say he
And then
DVR'd
we
it.
watched it.
I watched
I didn't want to
the.
watch it because I didn't want my IQ to go down.
Ooh.
It's a good show, though. I mean, you learned a lot.
Sounds like Bernie
Shots
Sanders.
fired. Shots fired.
I agree, though. It's a good show. I mean, when you want to learn business strategies.
Definitely business acumen, marketing,
Shots
sales.
fired. Shots fired.
What did you like about the show, Drew?
The first year I watched it to see the process.
Mhm.
Then it became interesting when the celebrities got on it because then you can root for your own celebrity. But other than that, it eventually got boring, to be honest, because it was pretty much didn't change.
Right. It got boring after a few seasons.
Yeah,
but
it
I liked
changed.
all the different, business and marketing skills that you take away from it.
Well, he took Omarosa with him over to the White House.
Oh, yeah,
from The
she's-
Apprentice, and now she's over. I mean, and that's where she started on. What reality show was she?
She was on Apprentice.
No, but she was on a different show before that.
Oh, she was? I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
she was on another like shady show,
I don't know.
and then The Apprentice picked her up because of the way she acted.
Was she on Love and Hip Hop or something?
It wasn't Love and Hip Hop, but something on that level.
Got it.
Probably.
Are you looking it up, Drew? I know she
Sure
was on
am.
something before The Apprentice, and then that's when
Sure, but there's something wrong with the. Hang on.
there's always. While you're looking up, we're going to move on to the next story because I don't know if you guys have seen the photo. It's going to be posted shortly on our Facebook page. NASA's Curiosity rover spotted a mysterious object sitting on the surface of Mars, leaving many people asking, is it a sign of alien life or just space debris? A high-definition image that surfaced online this week shows what appears to be a metal object reflecting light on the red planet.
Metal?
Yes, I did say metal.
It's a good smell.
The image dates back to March, but it was recently posted to Reddit. Some say it was an object left behind by aliens. Others say it's probably entry debris left behind by the rover itself. Real or not, the image has sparked a large debate. So again, we're going to post that shortly. online to our Facebook page, and we want to know what you think. If anybody has seen the photo, has anybody here seen the
I'm
photo?
looking at it right
I'm
now.
not.
You want to see?
I mean, it looks like a photo that would have been posted in a newspaper in 1980. You know, like a Loch Ness monster photo type. It's black and white. It's fuzzy, but it looks like a spaceship. Come
It's
on.
like a Nestle's Crunch Bar in black and white.
It's-
That's under the reverse side.
it looks like a Nestle's.
Look at it. This doesn't look that. What? This made
But it
it
doesn't-
aliens because of this?
Well, no, but I mean, how did it get there on Mars? How did it just get there?
What get where? I don't see anything other than like hills and craters and
You don't see the little
Look at that.
spaceship looking thing in the middle? Like to the upper left-hand corner, but lights reflecting. Do you see it?
this, that, what?
This makes for good radio when we're looking at
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
I know. That's why I said we're going to post it shortly on the Facebook page. I saved it to my other laptop, not on this one.
No, there's nothing there. They tell them to check their equipment.
I had to make
Yeah.
sure you're seeing the.
Chris knows more than NASA.
I just know that there's nothing there.
If you look at the one picture I saw, there is. It looks like a little.
It says that the caption says at the top, NASA finds potential cradle of life on Mars and shocking discovery.
Shocking.
Shocking. Yes. It's like a movie review. I don't see anything there other than landscape.
Yeah, you must be looking at the wrong thing. I'm going to send
Okay,
it
if
over.
they're
I'm
so
gonna post it
sophisticated,
soon.
why isn't there a live shot and something moving around?
What? Because you got to remember it's from the rover, from the
well,
little
How
robot.
many billions did that cost taxpayers?
But yet he can't move over to the object and take a picture.
Can't walk up with a selfie with him?
Yeah.
Come on now.
You're absolutely right. Over $5 billion on a robot, and he can't go up to the metal object and take a selfie.
Get it,
with
make a
it.
GIF out of him or something.
Don't take a selfie.
I don't want to say the G.
It actually is GIF.
Is it?
Yes, I called it GIF,
It
but
is by the creators. He calls them GIF.
Yes.
I don't like. I call it GIF. Also.
Because the peanut butter company would have sued him. We spelled it with a J, I suppose.
I guess so. No, but it's for graphic. It's for
Are
graphic
you kidding? That's free press.
interface.
I'd have loved it.
Graphic interface.
Then shouldn't it
symbol.
be good graphic?
I know. I would think so. So I don't know where the GIF
goof.
came from.
Because like what's the matter?
I don't know. I missed something over here.
Apparently,
What?
I don't know.
I said the Jif peanut butter company would probably sue the guy if he spelled it with a J. I would.
possible.
That's what got her?
I thought it was funny myself. I'm just not.
She's
laughing as hard as
dying
him.
over here. Wow. Oh my god.
So moving on,
Moving
Amazon. Amazon is looking for a spot for their second headquarters. So after Amazon announced in September that it will build a second headquarters in an undetermined location, more than 50 North American cities concocted bids to persuade the company to choose them. There was even lots of talk of it in Miami, I've heard.
Taco. You said taco.
Talk of. I said talk of, not
Tacos in
taco.
Miami?
Taco Bell.
Lots of tacos here.
Taco,
So
Taco Bell. That's Paco.
Sorry.
Not Taco Paco.
Go ahead.
So the company's new campus called HQ2 will bring 50,000 new jobs. Amazon will invest $5 billion in its construction, making the offer one of the largest corporate civic opportunities in recent American history. Proposals are not due until October 19th, but many cities have already disclosed their plans to woo Amazon, and some are actually more extreme than others. So like I said, first of all, when we're talking about an Amazon headquarter, their headquarters right now are in the state of Washington. They're in Seattle. Their headquarters,
It's huge.
it's like a campus. They like to call it a campus. There's not only corporate headquarters, they have apartments online in the town. They've got a homeless shelter. There's daycares. It's like a town in itself. That's what Amazon tries to recreate when opening up a headquarters. So cities are going hot. Cities are going crazy. Trying to get them to come to their town. So we've got, let's see, Dallas, Texas, a development that would surround a proposed station for a $15 billion bullet train. So you'd have the Amazon headquarters with a bullet train going through it. You've got cities such as New Jersey. They're offering $5 billion in tax incentives.
Cities like New Jersey?
Yes, that was Christie. Well, cities in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said cities in New Jersey are offering $5 billion in tax incentives. Stonecrest, Georgia. Actually, they are offering to rename itself the city of Amazon. If Amazon
Oh,
comes.
talk about kissing up.
Yeah.
They should build it in the Amazon.
There you go.
That's not a bad
That's
idea.
not the U.S. though.
Yeah, right. And then over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, they are offering 3 sites that would collectively span 28 million square feet.
Holy cow.
So that's just to give you an idea of how Amazon thinks when they're building a headquarters. So again, lots of cities in the U.S. Are jumping at anything they can to bid for this opportunity. Bids actually go in. It's October 15th.
Yeah, I heard one city was offering like 12 virgins or something like that. I wasn't sure.
Virgins?
Cities are offering whatever they can right now.
What cities are offering the virgins?
Oh, let's go take a trip, Chris. Come on.
No, but just while keeping on, excuse me, while staying on the topic of Amazon, just if anyone's out there looking for a job, the popular online retail giant has announced Thursday that it will be hiring hundreds of thousands of jobs in the U.S. for this holiday season. So according to news releases, Amazon will be creating more than 120,000 positions within their U.S. fulfillment centers and sortation centers and customer service sites. A spokesperson stated in 2016 that there will be many holiday positions transitioned to regular full-time roles. So again, you can visit amazondelivers.jobs to find them. You can also go to jobs.amazon.com. So again, they actually hire seasonal lots of times, and then they actually transition you over to a full-time employee. One last story before we go to break. Disney has some doggone good news for families with 4-legged friends. Their pups will now be able to join them on their vacation to the happiest place on earth. The Orlando resort says 4 of their hotels will roll out the welcome Mat for guests and their canine companions. This will be starting October 15th. These resorts will be Disney's Yacht Club, Port Orleans Riverside
That's
Resorts.
today.
Yesterday.
Starting today. Oh, yesterday.
Yesterday.
Oh, let's go.
I need to go get a dog.
Stand clear of the doors.
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Drew.
Tell us where we can go.
And also Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground will be offering this service. This new service does allow up to 2 dogs per room. Each resort will also offer outdoor pet exercise areas as well as green spaces with pet relief areas.
They get any rides? The dogs get any rides?
They should, right?
You get fast passes?
Now, the resorts will each charge a per night, per room pet cleaning fee. Disney says dogs staying in guest rooms must be well behaved, properly vaccinated, and leashed in the resort's public areas. So for more information, go ahead and check out Disney's website, those details with bringing your dog.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Charles, I'm sorry you can't hear that, but Charles is looking like, why are they all silent? But there is stuff going on inside.
In our minds. In our little minds.
We can all hear the voices.
It's the same voice.
So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we have more news such as Hurricane Ophelia. We've got sports coming up. And again, we've got a short recap and some tips when it comes to breast cancer awareness. So make sure you stay tuned to us here on Now Trending on 24/7 Miami Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on Now Trending, guests and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station.
Hiya, this is Harley Quinn, and you're on 24/7 Miami. Wee! Wahoo! Whoopee! Yay! Yay! Yay!
You're listening to 24/7 Miami Radio.
Hey, it's the guys from the couch, and we're coming to you now live on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock with your favorite segments like Simple Jack and W. Dubai Knows It All. Catch us every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. live on 247miami.tv.
We talk about sports
And other things.
like what? W eating chips.
I can't put these chips down.
247miami.tv.
The couch.
Hello, everyone. This is Drew from Now Trending. And usually I'm driving the bus in the show, keeping it from riding off on the rails. Every Monday from
4 to 6.
on 247miami.tv.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Roy from The Roy O Show. Just letting you know, guess what? The Roy O Show, it's back, baby. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. It's going to be Prosper, O, and yours truly covering everything. Sports, TV, entertainment, comics, Walking Dead, you name it, we're talking about it. Join us this Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. only on 247miami.tv.
It's now trending. Make sure you catch a new episode every Monday from 4 to 6 on 247miami.tv.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Saturday.
Join me, Siobhan, every Sunday for the latest episode of Day by Day. From Alzheimer's Awareness Month to International Bacon Day, find out what's happening this week and how these observances got started.
Each day.
Because each day counts.
Day by day. By day.
You're listening to 24/7 Miami Radio.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Roy from The Roy O Show. Just letting you know, guess what? The Roy O Show, it's back, baby. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. It's going to be Prosper, O, and yours truly covering everything. Sports, TV, entertainment, comics, Walking Dead, you name it, we're talking about it. Join us this Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. only on 247miami.tv.
Out trending every Monday from
4 to 6
on 247miami.tv.
This is Chris Metal here for Now Trending, coolest show on 247miami.tv. Join us every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Joey Canizero, your host, Drew Dawkins, Siobhan, and Chris Metal. Every Monday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern on 247miami.tv.
You're listening to 24/7 Miami Radio.
Hiya, this is Harley Quinn, and you're on 24/7 Miami. Wee! Wahoo! Whoopee! Yeah, yeah, yeah!
And we're back here to Now Trending on 24/7 Miami Radio. You can find us at facebook.com/Now Trending 247. You can also find us on Twitter at Now Trending 247. So again, lots more news to talk about. So Siobhan's going to take over.
Oh, I forgot it's my turn.
Let me get from missing meetings.
Thanks, Siobhan.
All right, give me 1 second.
You had a meeting?
Okay, so first off, squeaky mics there. Where'd it go?
That'd be a good show for Mike, Squeaky Mike.
Squeaky Mike. So as we're all familiar with in South Florida, and we dealt with our own hurricane not too long ago, now Hurricane Ophelia, I guess, has been downgraded to a tropical storm, but it has gone all the way far northeast in the Atlantic and is hitting Ireland and the UK. Many of the schools are closed today and tomorrow as they expect winds up to 93 miles per hour. And we were talking about this earlier before the show. I've never heard of a storm like this reaching Ireland. I mean, a hurricane reaching Ireland. It just seems weird.
Yeah, it is.
Have you guys heard this?
Never. It was shocking when I was watching it on the news, the course that it was taking. And then that's when the weatherman had advised that this was the first time ever in history that a hurricane has ever gone this far east.
Mm-hmm.
So to think of a hurricane hitting Ireland, like it's headed to the UK. You've never really heard of that?
I have not. I'm sure. I mean, I know they have storms, but probably not to this.
That's what. Well, that's what kind of like. That's. Thank you. That was one of my second.
Thanks, Debbie. Appreciate it, Donna.
That's Debbie Downer over there. Just, well, no, but that's one of the things that, because look at all the changes in weather patterns this year alone. To have a hurricane going again to the United Kingdom, again, this is the first time ever that a hurricane's ever gone this far east. What has changed? What is going on?
Is it
I
so
don't,
much?
I don't think it's the first time ever in
Yeah.
history, but probably
No, this far east. This is the farthest east. They said that a hurricane's ever gone.
Is it possible that we just now we have the ability to
hear about
detect
it
these
more.
things right? So
I don't know.
that
I'm gonna have to research this because I have a hard time believing that it's never happened before.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that far east. It's been, you know what I mean, close to there, but they said this far east.
I would look it up now, but apparently we're having issues with our internet.
I'll put $5 on it.
Well, I'm sure more is going to be reported as the storm passes, but so far, the storm has caused the Cork City Stadium to collapse, or parts of it. Do you see the picture here?
Wow.
Yeah, so they were scheduled to.
No, we can't see the picture.
The radio show.
Well, I showed Joy, and she said, "Wow!" So there. Yes. I don't know what sport this is. I'm sorry. I don't know what Cork City's title clash with Derry City is all about. I'm not in touch. I would imagine rugby would be my first guess. But anyway, it did destroy parts of the stadium. So their scheduled Tuesday night matchup is going to have to be rescheduled. And I'm sure as time goes on, like I said, we will hear of other devastation and damage created by Ophelia and what remains of her. So
it's just hard to imagine a hurricane in Ireland. Do they know what to
is.
do? Do they know how to prepare? Do they know
a
where
hurricane.
Do they stuff the sheep somewhere? Like when I think of Ireland, I just think of green grassy hills and sheep. Like, where do you store the sheep? Is there a shelter?
I don't know.
Well, to my grandma's house.
What did they do with the cows here in Miami when Hurricane Irma came?
I believe we just leave them out there. Unfortunately,
You just think it's like a Lucky Charms or Irish Spring commercial, right?
Yes.
Out there, there's rolling green hills, sun shining all the time, a rainbow.
And don't forget
that's
the
it.
sheep.
The rainbow.
Yeah, don't
And
forget
then-
the sheep.
And then beer.
All that and the
in every
sheep
corner.
and leprechaun and beer.
So you don't eat Lucky Charms for breakfast?
They don't eat Lucky
They put
Charms
beer
not
on it
every
instead
day.
of milk.
They put
I thought that's
Guinness
why
on it.
I thought that's how I became Irish for all the Lucky Charms I ate as a child.
Oh my goodness.
All that artificial coloring. That's what you got.
Dad, you pooped on green.
Jeez. Okay, let's move on.
Why do we do this on this?
Because we're crazy. We just got nothing else to do.
The poor Irish.
Don't give it else. God kept it.
Really, no. God bless them, and I hope they've got to know what to do during a
I
hurricane.
feel
Right?
bad for what we're doing to them.
I know.
Well,
That's
not
not
only are they
because-
dealing with Hurricane Ophelia, what remains of the hurricane, but they in the UK they're also dealing with smoke and ash. California, yes. Apparently, there are many fires raging across Portugal and northwest Spain, as well as California.
Well, they should be fine with the storm going by then, no?
Well, doesn't necessarily help.
Oh.
But the smoke and debris from the fires are being carried north by the storm. That would be Hurricane Ophelia. And particles of smoke, dust, and sand bend the light to give it a reddish hue. So the sky in the UK has been red. So, I mean, they've got to feel like it is the end of the world. I mean, they've got this red sky with smoke and ash, a crazy storm coming their
They're
way.
running to the pubs. Get to the pubs. We gotta drink it all.
Yeah. So it's this combination of all these events that make the phenomenon particularly striking. The trail of smoke spans over 1,000 miles. The health risks are minimal in the UK as the smoke is mostly limited to higher altitudes. So that's good news. With the wind expected to change by Tuesday, the air is likely to clear. Social media users have taken to Twitter and Instagram to document the strange phenomenon, saying they love the weather in London today. Saharan dust and tropical air from Ophelia has brought the red sun to, I'm not going to try to pronounce this English town, Loughborough.
Oh, so you made it sound real Israel.
They do the, the throat thing.
Bunch of people just Google
Wrong
that.
part of the country.
And Britain has returned to sepia color with a U, of course. So yeah, lots going on in that part of the world.
I'm interested to see footage though, like the B-roll that's going to come in after.
Yeah,
I
guys,
saw it today
storm.
on the news, actually.
from the storm or
From the storm, like
All
what did
the
you say?
debris
Fires,
from Ireland.
right?
Like there's all debris everywhere, and there's all things like awnings and things everywhere, and just
Yeah.
completely unprepared for. How do you prepare for something that never happened?
Right, exactly. They're not really built for that kind of thing.
No.
Just please tell me they didn't
I mean,
put
it
tape on the windows. That's all I know.
It wasn't devastation, but I mean, it's definitely
Just something, yeah. It's just hard to imagine when we usually see footage of these types of occurrences. We're used to seeing the coast. We're used to seeing pictures with beaches and wild waves and palm trees, flying everywhere. That's usually and other stuff. But that's
like intense peril.
Yeah, but just to see it there again, I'm just very interested to go home later and just see. And again, we do wish for everyone's safety there, and it's really sad. It's a hard thing to go through, a natural disaster. Again, we're California, and now we've got Europe, so we shall see how it all plays out.
So moving on, 2 truck bombs in Somalia's capital of Mogadishu killed at least 189 people. This is the deadliest attack in the country's decade-long war with Islamic extremists, signaling this is not funny, guys. The insurgency is far from defeated.
I just lost it.
Despite years of U.S. counterterrorism operations, nearly all of the dead were killed by the first bomb, which exploded Saturday outside a popular hotel near a busy intersection in Mogadishu. The second truck bomb killed a few more people nearby. The Somali capital is a frequent target of attacks, and extremists by this particular extremist group linked to Al-Qaeda, but residents said they quickly discerned that the twin blasts were of a different order of magnitude. How sad is it that they can tell who is responsible for these attacks by what type of attack they have? I mean, they're just so frequent there. The death toll will likely continue to climb, but by yesterday, they were still trying to calculate the number of victims. The Associated Press is saying there's 189, while Somali lawmakers say there's 218 deaths. So, I mean, either way, it's pretty high. And in related story, sorry. Can't find the story.
Well, you're finding it.
No, I got it right here.
Okay, go ahead.
No, what were you going to say?
No, I'm just saying that I love the way lately that you've been trying to be more in touch with how you pronounce things, because I just wanted to share, over the weekend, we also had the pleasure of interviewing Univision's Yvonne Taylor and Maria Fernanda Lopez. And before doing the interview, Siobhan made sure to go over how to pronounce Univision.
And they wanted me to say Univision.
Siobhan said, I'm very white.
Oh my God.
We're in the race car.
No, I said clearly Spanish is not my native tongue.
And she said, I'm very white. And she said, is it Univision or Univision?
They told me to say Univision.
They did. Or they said also Univision was okay.
But I said, what do you guys say?
Right.
And they said Univision.
Univision.
Yeah.
And I was just making jokes though, because typically, here it's in Miami, we say either Univision or Univision. Mm-hmm. But usually when a white person says Univision, it's somebody saying, it's Univision, it's Univision. How do you say it, Angie? Have you ever said Univision?
No, it sounds weird to me.
See? But that's what I mean. If we say Univision, I'm constantly getting somebody no, it's Univision.
When I say Univision, it's just because I want to sound very specific, but normally I'll just say, Channel 23.
Yeah, there it is. But I think, it's even funny that they make a point to say it's Univision 23. That's right. Get the 23.
Yes. Okay, we got way off topic here, but
I have to. That was why you're searching for your story.
Well, so I did. Syrian government forces and their allies this weekend said they seized the town of Mayadeen in Islamic State stronghold in the country's east. It is a major gain in the race for territories previously held by the militant group ISIS. So basically, that this city that has been held by ISIS for some time has been retaken by the Syrian government. So that is good. Do we think this city actually was? Do we think this is a huge step forward that we're seeing cities being taken back by the countries, or just kind of another, I don't know, ISIS is just going to go somewhere else?
You just look at his progress being made, because you didn't hear a lot about this happening before this most recent surge.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're hearing Raqqa is hours, if not days away from being retaken by the SDF, I believe they're called.
Yeah, this report says they are in the final battle for control of Raqqa, the ISIS de facto capital and a symbol of the group's reign of terror,
which they've held for a number of years.
Right.
So and this is huge. This is massive, because they hadn't gotten anywhere near Raqqa
Raqqa is near this city that was retaken recently. So, I mean, they're close. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether this is just kind of like, oh, good news, but let's see what happens, or like, wow, this is really great news.
Well, it's good news compared to the truck bombings in Somalia. So
It is true.
It's definitely good news.
So, okay, now I know Joy is very interested
A
in
couple of news pieces too.
Huh?
I have a couple of news pieces too at this time.
Yeah, well, we gotta get this one out because I
Joy
need to know
loves
more
this.
about this one.
As we're talking about, hurricanes and fires and
Stressful situations,
terrorists, Sesame Street is teaching coping skills for children who experience trauma. Apparently, it's been a hard day on Sesame Street, and Big Bird is feeling sad and angry. His friend Alan tells him it's okay to have big feelings when something bad has happened. We can all learn from this, guys. So he encourages Big Bird to calm down by imagining a safe place that he can go to. Where is your safe place?
Where all the liberals hang out.
Oh, jeez.
Come on over.
Drew? Where's your safe place?
My safe place?
Not your safe word. Your safe place.
That's one of the stories from Atlanta.
Was the safe word used in Atlanta?
Well, we don't have time.
The
We don't
safe
have
word
to
is
wait.
banana.
It's strawberry.
Sorry.
That way it's hard to
It's like
pronounce.
Cliff and Family Guy.
So soon, Big Bird, well, you'll be happy to know, Big Bird's safe place is a dreamlike cozy nest where he feels the warm sun on his feathers and smelling birdseed cookies baking in his granny's bird's oven. Does that sound nice? I don't know.
No, it sounds hideous.
Well, this is just part of a series that have been released by the creators of Sesame Street to teach children strategies to cope with traumatic experiences, whether they are unexpected, like a hurricane or flooding, or ongoing traumas. So a new survey, a federal survey, found that 1 in 5 children in the U.S. have experienced at least 2 types of adverse childhood experiences, such as abuse and neglect, domestic violence, or living with an adult who has a mental illness or substance abuse problem. The rates are higher for teenagers, and researchers say they believe the responses, which are reported by children's parents, are likely undercounts. So Sesame Street has come up with a series of ways to teach children how to cope. Here are a few.
Now listen, I don't agree with one of them because listen, this is what we're trying to teach children. Go ahead, Siobhan.
Well, the count shows how counting helps him calm down when he is upset. Does this help you guys? Exactly.
Yeah. As long as we can in between, I may feel a little better.
Rosita learns.
Now listen to
This is
Rosita.
Joy's favorite. Everybody
Listen to
listen.
Rosita because she'd be watching the Univision.
Wait, did you say it right?
Rosita.
She rolled that good.
She learns to punch a pillow or roar like a dinosaur when she is angry or frustrated. What are we teaching our kids with this one?
What's Rosita?
It's okay to be angry, have outbursts.
And punch pillows.
And other things that are in your way. Elmo likes to give himself a hug or builds a fort out of blankets so he can feel safe when he is scared.
He's trying to escape the world. I mean, I build myself little blanket forts sometimes. Just get the hell away from the world.
Have Elmo.
That's my safe place.
Have Elmo squeeze a Tickle Me Elmo, and that hideous laugh will make him feel the one that never stops.
But you know what I was thinking the other day, because they're bringing Tickle Me Elmo back. Well, he hasn't really gone away, but I think the original ones, I'm going to let
I
you
have
still
an original
go.
one.
Yeah, but
I
mean,
was like 15, but
no, well, that's what I was going to say.
Ruxpin?
I had a
No, I
Teddy
didn't have
Ruxpin.
one of those.
Yeah, I don't have my Teddy Ruxpin, but you know, he's
I
coming
had
back.
the cheaper knockoff, the AG Bear.
No, we've got, listen, Teddy
There's a warehouse
Ruxpin's.
full of those.
Teddy
From the
Ruxpin's.
80s.
Yeah, Teddy Ruxpin. I would.
He's
die.
coming back too, yeah.
He is. That's what I'm saying. He's coming back, but it's a different. He's more like reinvented.
Oh, he's more politically correct now?
No, but you don't even know what a Teddy Ruxpin is, to you.
Is he gender neutral?
But is it, no, but going on to Elmo, like Tickle Me Elmo, that came out when my son was born, and my son's going to be 22. The other day I saw the commercial, and I was like, because they're talking about this whole reinvention of Tickle Me Elmo, and I'm like, damn, I
still consider
waited.
Elmo the new puppet on Sesame Street.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but he's old.
I know,
Elmo
there's
is
other
old.
new
He's
ones.
gray now instead of red.
Like Rosita, who beats up on things.
I don't know even who Rosita
Is
is.
she the one with special needs?
I don't know.
I think she maybe does. They puppet together with the
Drew's
special
the one
needs
with younger kids.
Which one's the one that has a...
Autism, I believe. It's like an autism. It's on.
Autistic. I think no, I don't think it's Rosita.
It's not Rosita.
No, it's
She's the violent one.
It's okay, kids. It's okay. Sesame Sesame Street's telling you it's okay.
What other tips do we have? Were there other?
No, those are the only examples they give. We'll have to tune in to see the other videos in the series. I'm actually interested, but they do have other free online resources, including storybooks, games, and activities in English and Spanish, aimed to help children process difficult feelings and give them tools to feel safe and relaxed when their adrenaline is racing and their emotions flare. Which is something all of us can use. But I don't know.
We don't come with a book. That's first of all. That's I think this is one of the beginning factors when it comes to even mental illnesses. We don't come with the book. Through life we handle so many stressful situations that we don't know how to cope properly with those feelings and emotions. So that's what usually causes a great mix-up of things. And go ahead, Chris Metal.
So if Big Bird gives Rosita, whatever her name is.
Rosita. Is it Univision or Univision?
Oh, Night Jump Networks. Okay.
Oh, sorry, bro. No, but if Big Bird gives the angry one of his cookies, birdseed cookies, and she doesn't like it, she throws it back at him in his face, it's okay.
Why?
Because she's the one that gets angry.
But she can punch pillows. No, she punches pillows and screams like a dinosaur.
I hate your cookie.
My God.
Breathes fire, burns up all the cookies.
That's going to be my new coping mechanism.
Oh, man.
To roar like a dinosaur. I learned something from Sesame Street today.
I learned, I actually can't believe that they're teaching kids this, but that's okay.
Well,
where do the parents step in? And also,
I was just going to say that.
On showing the kids right from wrong as far as safe places go.
Because we just have like this new generation of kids coming.
Well, maybe we're taking this a little wrong. I'm quite sure Sesame Street is not teaching people to beat up on pillows.
No, we know. Yeah, I'm sure that. But just hopefully
mechanisms for things.
But that's by venting to a pillow, it could be better than beating on somebody else.
Well, you know what? I was taught at a young age.
Drew goes home and beats his pillow.
That's not my pillow.
That's another story. No.
But coping mechanisms to deal with what? You deal with things that are going on in your life.
The traumas.
At what age? At what age?
Whatever age children are watching Sesame Street.
At what point do the parents jump in and be like, okay, this is a television show. This is reality. This is proper upbringing. The kid may not need a safe space or need a coping mechanism so violent.
Yeah, but you're supposed to watch it with them or be near them when they're watching.
Because that pillow's going to snowball into a person as they get older. If you teach kids to punch things at a young age, they're going to continue to punch things as they get older.
So what Drew's saying is just the coping mechanisms, some of the coping mechanisms that they are showing. No, but an adult should, hopefully, watch these ahead of time, with the child to make sure, that's kind of
how it's supposed to be.
Things have really changed from when we were kids, guys.
Yeah. The TV show's a lot different.
I wasn't into Sesame Street when I was little.
That's all we had when I was little.
Yeah, Sesame Street.
The cartoons you had.
Fraggle Rock was it.
Fraggle Rock came later on, but the only reason you had were Saturday morning cartoons, and during the week you had Sesame Street, pretty much.
Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers
was came on before Sesame Street.
Even though he had like an equal amount of puppets, Mr. Rogers was much more believable.
I didn't like the puppets on Mr. Rogers. I always changed the channel.
Because they didn't move their mouths.
Yeah, they were stick
creepy.
puppets.
They had a creepy.
No, only
factor.
King Friday was.
A stick puppet?
I wasn't afraid.
Creepy.
Oh, he was creepy.
Didn't he wear red?
No, he blue. It was blue or purple.
That's right. Okay, yeah.
No, he had a yeah.
That was the one with the big nose. I can't remember the name of it. It came out with that little round thing with all the colors on it.
Yeah, I just didn't like the puppets. I'd always change the channel when he went to the puppets. I'd be like, all right, I'm done with you, Mr. Rogers.
The other one was in the clock. Tiger.
When is the last time any of us has watched a Mr. Rogers episode?
I don't know.
Oh, you're talking a long time.
I watched them for years, even when I was like too old for Mr. Rogers to watch.
There's a story.
I thought the guy was great.
I believe you, Chris.
There's a story of Mr. Rogers. Yeah, I watched it yesterday.
I want to use like the credits to the show, to his show on the metal show, but I can't.
There's a story that he had where apparently these guys stole his car, and when they found out it was Mr. Rogers' car, they brought it back to him.
Right, like how can you do wrong with Mr. Rogers?
Exactly. That guy was cool.
I have a text from a listener we're talking about the Sesame Street puppets.
Right.
Julia is on the autism spectrum on Sesame Street.
It's Julia.
Julia, that's right. That's absolutely right. She's blue, isn't she?
No.
Like a teal or aqua?
Isn't she like, teal or aqua or something like that? Chris, you said you had a
Probably a new
story?
sensation. Well, it's a new story, but it's nothing with what we're talking about.
Not serious?
No, it's new.
Oh.
Trust me, it's serious.
Okay,
Absolutely.
go share with us.
A sport. Well, I could save it for sports too. NBC will not punish Al Michaels for comparing the New York Giants to Harvey Weinstein.
What was his
get into that
comparison? I
during
missed that.
I will read you the quote. I'll actually read the story. It's not very long. It says NBC will not discipline veteran broadcaster Al Michaels for a comment he made about the disgraced Hollywood executive Harvey Weinstein during Sunday's game between the New York Giants and Denver Broncos, a comment that critics call insulting to women. He's saying, quote, I mean, let's face it, the Giants are coming off a worse week than Harvey Weinstein, and they're up 14 points, Michael said.
Sorry.
I think we're all a little too sensitive sometimes.
I don't think I think it's too soon, and I think you're going to really offend the 40 or so women who are accusing him of what he did or what he, is alleged to have done, which is probably
Well,
true.
he's admitting to
Well,
it.
but he's not necessarily degrading women on that. He's
Put
saying,
yourself in the victim's shoes, though. Of all the 40 of those, Angelina Jolie, Ashley Judd, etc. Put yourself in their shoes when they're going out to audition for, roles or whatever it was, and they have to do this or they won't ever get signed or anything like that. So he's poking fun at it. He could have made a better analogy than this, because at the time the Giants were still winless, and he could have compared them to the Cleveland Browns or the 49ers. He could have kept it within the realms of football, which is something people use to escape all the BS that's going on in the world. And you get all these victims who, it took years before the silence was broken and all this other stuff, and he's just using this as a horrible comparison. And I love Al Michaels, I really do. I've listened to him since I was a little kid. He's a great announcer in all a bunch of different sports, and he's a huge hockey fan too. But that was not necessary, and he apologized later in the broadcast. He said, quote, it was an inappropriate comment and was acknowledged with an apology soon after the telecast. He's like, So he said, the joke was not meant in that manner, so my apologies. Whatever. Terrible, classless, maybe a slip of the tongue. I'm going to give, let it go. Time will take care of it.
You're not going to hold it against him.
I'm not, and NBC's not. You know what I mean? And you figure NBC's a liberal agenda, and they're so pro-feminist that they should jump on it, but they're not going to because he's got such a clean rap sheet.
He said that on Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, last night.
Live?
Yeah.
Huh? I didn't watch that.
Way too soon. I mean, I'm reading about it. I didn't hear about it when I was watching the game. I fell asleep before the third quarter. This happened in the third quarter. So
you fell asleep in the third quarter?
Well, I got to work at 4 in the morning, dude. I'm asleep,
Right.
Plus, I don't have any skin in the game. I'm not a fan of either team. So,
Well, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and go to break. When we come back, Chris is going to give us more with sports. We are talking Aaron Rodgers, NFL. We've got post MLB talk, and we've got all kinds of other talk. So make sure you stay tuned right here to Now Trending on 24/7 Miami Radio.
Please stand clear of the door. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Hiya, this is Harley Quinn, and you're on 24/7 Miami. Wee! Wahoo! Whoopee! Get it!
You're listening to 24/7 Miami Radio.
Hey, it's the guys from the couch, and we're coming to you now live on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock with your favorite segments like Simple Jack and W. Dubai Knows It All. Catch us every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. live on 247miami.tv.
We talk about sports.
And other things.
Like what? W eating chips. I can't put these chips down. 247miami.tv.
The couch.
Hello, everyone. This is Drew from Now Trending. And usually I'm driving the bus in the show, keeping it from riding off on the rails. Every Monday from
4 to 6
on 247miami.tv.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Roy from The Roy O Show. Just letting you know, guess what? The Roy O Show, it's back, baby. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. It's going to be Prosper, O, and yours truly covering everything. Sports, TV, entertainment, comics, Walking Dead, you name it, we're talking about it. Join us this Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. only on 247miami.tv.
It's Now Trending. Make sure you catch a new episode every Monday from
4 to 6
on 247miami.tv.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Saturday.
Join me, Siobhan, every Sunday for the latest episode of Day by Day. From Alzheimer's Awareness Month to International Bacon Day, find out what's happening this week and how these observances got started.
Each day.
Because each day counts.
Day by day. By day.
You're listening to 24/7 Miami Radio.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Roy from The Roy O Show. Just letting you know, guess what? The Roy O Show, it's back, baby. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. It's going to be Prosper, O, and yours truly covering everything. Sports, TV, entertainment, comics, Walking Dead, you name it, we're talking about it. Join us this Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m.
Only on 247miami.tv.
Out trending every Monday from
4 to 6.
on 247miami.tv.
This is Chris Metal here for Now Trending, coolest show on 247miami.tv. Join us every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Joy Canizero, your host, Drew Dawkins, Siobhan, and Chris Metal. Every Monday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern on 247miami.tv.
You're listening to 24/7 Miami Radio.
Hiya, this is Harley Quinn, and you're on 24/7 Miami. Wee! Wahoo! Whoopee! Yay! Yay!
And we're back here now, trending on 24/7 Miami Radio. Did anybody hear that?
Hear what?
No, just everybody.
Did it come through the mic?
Yes.
What do you say? Excuse me?
I said this chair is going to
Upset
piss
you?
me off.
That's not bad.
That's a swear jar. It's a swear. We need to get a
It
swear jar.
keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going down, and I can't get
Do
it
you
up.
allow that word on your network?
Speaking of penis enlargers,
Louis, do you allow that word on your network?
Penis?
Piss.
Oh.
Pissed off.
Oh, penis fine.
No, pissed off.
yeah, penis is fine, but
fine.
pissed off, no.
It's like moist.
Ew. See, now, when somebody points out that word, but did you hear me say that word earlier and nobody caught
No
it?
one caught
You
it.
know
Yeah.
what? That word doesn't creep me out like it does other people. So
It does. Some people really do. I think it's the way some people say it. Like when Drew says it, it just sounds awful. When I say it, I like to say it fast. And
Why is it
because
moist?
yeah, I think
you
any
missed
word-
the T though. You know what? Back
I missed the T?
Yeah, you didn't say moist.
I missed the Oh.
But
okay.
amidst the mist, the friendliest.
Missed the
Oh
Here
my
we
God.
go.
Bob.
Can we rejoin the song?
Bob.
Amidst.
Amidst the mist.
Right. So it's
Yeah,
moist.
Moist. Okay, try again. Ready?
Uh-huh.
Moist.
Any word you say is going to sound creepy like that.
You want a lollipop? Come to my white van with no windows.
No. Oh my goodness.
My son says it to his cousin. He says panties, and my cousin just busts out laughing. It's hilarious. Panties.
What are you
Start the
teaching your
sports
son?
segment.
Oh yeah,
please.
sports. Sorry.
Yes, because I heard you're going to make it really exciting for us today.
Well, it's hard to top what you guys were just talking about. So,
So we're
I'm gonna
starting
try.
off. Lots of stuff going on with the NFL today. What are you going to give us, Chris Metal?
I actually thought we were going to do MLB
We did. I
playoffs
did say
first.
that. I did.
According to you. No,
Well, it is first on
Legal.
our show sheet, Joy.
It
Yeah,
is.
Joy.
You're right. I know. And I was
Thanks,
looking at
Joy.
NFL Aaron Rodgers. So go for it.
Everything joined.
All right. We have MLB postseason coverage where we find both league championship series. We find teams that have a 2-0 advantage. We'll start with the American League Championship Series
I'm so
between the New York
nervous.
Yankees and the Houston Astros.
I have to say, I'm completely surprised.
I didn't even ask a question.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you that right now.
Well, no, the reason why I'm not surprised is because, I knew the Astros seemed to be the better team, but both games were 2-1. One in the ninth inning. or in extra, and late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Houston with this crazy offense with Altuve and Correa and Springer and all those guys barely scratched 2 runs against the Yankees. I know it was more than enough to win. But we're talking 2 runs in both games. So I absolutely do not count the Yankees out of this series. They were down 0-2 in this previous series against a team that I thought was better than Houston.
I thought was better than everybody. I thought they were going to win.
They ran the tables on them in the 3rd game with their pitching. So I'm thinking the Yankees need a little home cooking, and they got to grab tonight's win. They absolutely have to grab tonight. CC Sabathia going up against I don't even know who he's going against, but
Are we all going to go watch this game?
This one I actually might watch.
This one's going to be good. I'm going to be watching Monday Night Raw and the Yankee game and Monday Night Football and the hockey game.
Is the best out of 3 or best out of best out of 5 or best out of
7?
7 for this.
Next 3 are Yankee Stadium. So they got to get these 3 and then steal one in Houston. But if they don't have to pitch, if they don't have to hit against Keuchel in every game, they have a really legitimate chance. But they have to win these 3 games. I mean, let's just go about tonight. CC Sabathia. The last time he was out, pitched beautifully. Gave up 2 runs. They had the game in hand, but he pitched great. And they hit for him. Problem is that the pitching is going to dominate this series. As it has already.
As it should.
It's not like the National League, which we'll talk about in a minute. But this one's been entirely pitching. The same thing when the Yankees were playing the Indians. All pitching.
Let me go back to the Indians game real quick. What happened?
They got Kluber's number. Cy Young Award winner or not, they got his number. Just like they had Chris Sale's number against with the Red Sox. There's some pitchers that no matter how good they are, some teams can just light them up.
But they had the best shot at winning it all.
They absolutely did.
Everything. I mean, there were 24 games in a row.
That doesn't mean anything. This is a regular season.
But the answer
to your stat, but
the answer to your momentum.
But it doesn't matter in the postseason. And then they started losing. They lost 3 straight after they won the 23 in a row. So that's a nice stat to have in your bag with your driver and your putter and everything else. But postseason is when it counts.
But you agree that should have at least been.
That was a remarkable achievement.
By the way, you were asking who's pitching for the Astros tonight is Charlie Morton.
That's right. I couldn't remember his name, so I didn't want to say someone else's name. Yes, Charlie Morton. Fireworks don't really go off when his name comes out, so
which is why you didn't remember it.
Quite possibly.
Well, sometimes the pitchers don't become stars until after the game starts.
Right. So we'll see if some of these baby bombers can start hitting like Gary Sanchez and Aaron Judge, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts a night, and everything like that. It's going to be a hell of a task for the Yankees, but let's jump to the National League, where the Dodgers have a 2-0 advantage on the Chicago Cubs, the defending champion Chicago Cubs, as the series goes back to Wrigley Field. So, again, they're not pitching Kershaw until game 4 or 5, if they make it to 5 games.
Do you think that Dodgers can take him?
Well, if you look at it right now, I mean, they keep going. Absolutely. They're playing well. They're getting the clutch hits. Unlike the Yankees, the Dodgers are hitting. So there's more runs being scored with the Dodgers against the Cubs pitching.
Okay.
So we'll see what they can do at Wrigley. But, I mean, you're down 0-2. You're not out of the game yet. You're not in an elimination game tonight. The Yankees are not being eliminated tonight. So this is a game you have to win. Same thing with the Cubs when they play tomorrow night. They have to win. They have to get the series back. Usually those who win game 3 some reason have an edge in the series. That's a pivotal game.
The momentum, the big move.
That's huge.
Then I'm gonna throw this out there because I think she earns the credit for it. Mr. Vaughn said that she wanted the Yankees Dodgers series, World Series.
Absolutely.
How likely is that looking to happen now?
Both teams are down 2 games now. So
the Dodgers are up 2 games.
The Yankees are down 2. And the Dodgers
they were down 2 with the Indians, so I can't. I only believe that.
I mean, with 4 teams left, the scenarios are numerous.
Yeah, you probably have some chance. Right.
You got 3 historic teams, 3 teams with very, very, very storied histories, and then you got the Astros. So, not taking anything away from the Astros. The Astros are making history right now because people are going to talk about this team years down the road.
Do you remember the
players they have? The
orange and black and white unis they
have?
Yeah,
rainbow look. Yeah, I mean, it was so retro, but people loved them back then.
So
ridiculous. I think Yankees Cubs and Yankees Dodgers would be ideal for the sport. Especially East Coast, West Coast would be great because as everybody knows, the Dodgers used to be in Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
back in the 40s, 50s, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ran out to the West Coast as MLB was expanding across the country.
Right.
So this would be a great East Coast, West Coast thing, kind of like Celtics, Lakers back in the 80s. Classic.
Nice.
It had the nation gripping it every game.
Mm-hmm.
This could be the same thing because both teams have breakout stars and great pitching.
Yeah.
But the Yankees really have to show some offense with the bats instead and make things happen because they're losing games 2-1. Through no fault of anybody. It's a bang play at the plate.
Well, except
or a
sending
walk-off.
Brett Gardner for an extra base when that should not be happening.
Twice.
Once.
There's a handful of things in both games they could have done better, but in hindsight, we're being fans. So let's jump over to the NFL.
Lots of stuff going on with the NFL, especially the Miami Dolphins. Let's kick it off with the Dolphins.
Who beat the defending NFC champion
Listen to
Atlanta
you.
Falcons by the score of 20-17. But more importantly, they came back from being down 17-0. Came all the way back to win. The Falcons are a good team. Let's just put it that way. But every team that has a bad game or has a hiccup in the season where they didn't play up to their standards, up to their level, and things like that, and they got beat by a struggling Miami Dolphins team. They don't look like they're struggling. If they play like they played yesterday, they're going to do well. They're going to win most of their games. Not all of them, but they'll win most of them.
Now, how do you feel about that unexpected win from the Giants last night?
You know what? They were bound to win a game, but nobody would have called it against Denver.
No, not at all. Especially
being
all
at
of their
home.
right, and all of their big
And Sunday
players
night.
right now are all injured. So they only really have rookies on the field.
But that's when it's their turn to shine.
Mhm.
When they get people from the practice squad or they sign people off the street to make things happen. Like the Falcons signed somebody from their and he scored the touchdown.
Yeah, it's
yesterday.
time. Yeah.
It's a magnificent play of the season.
Yeah.
Way over his head. Looks like it was
Beautiful
going to
pass.
be
Caught
thrown out of bounds, and he caught it, holding it.
Holding 2 feet. Yep.
We would have never known his name the week before. We would have
Right.
bumped into him at a speedway, and we wouldn't have known.
So go my way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's for the rookies for the Giants to shine.
Terrell
Absolutely.
start on the kickoff.
That's how great. That's how Tom Brady became Tom Brady. Drew
Yeah.
Bledsoe went down. We got hit by your guy Mo Lewis.
Just thank you, Mo Lewis.
Fractured a rib, or punctured a lung, or something. Brady came in, boom, Super Bowl.
Well, his first pass was an interception. So
Well, they won a ring later that year, and the rest is history. So these guys can come out of nowhere in the shadow of injury, and it should be really it should be fun to watch because this team, I think they're out of the playoffs, but they're gonna just come out and play the way they did every week, and they're gonna turn
the
it
Giants.
around. Yeah.
Well, remember they went to the Super Bowl. They lost. If I'm not mistaken, they lost like 6 of the first 8 games when they went to the Super Bowl.
Something like that. They
Yeah,
go to the
then the
wild
Give it a
card.
wild card, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So anything can happen.
Anything can happen, but if you're quickly 0-5 to start the season,
It's just harder. It's
this is a
harder road.
great way.
Right.
This is a great way to dig out of the hole. You know,
Yeah.
and
But imagine it's their rookies, and like you said, like their no names, a guy we wouldn't have known if we saw the racetrack last week. And imagine if
But
this
their
is the
shot.
team
This is their shot.
that's going to take them somewhere. When they had, I just think it's amazing to watch when you depend on these big players, these big experienced players who are these big names, and we see them every time we change the channel with some endorser, and now they're all injured, and you put the rookies in, and they're the ones who are actually making a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
For your team, Lou, the Giants.
He's busy.
No comment?
He's busy. Yeah, he's not listening.
No, but you know what? According to the bookmakers in Las Vegas, the underdogs went 9-2 this yesterday.
Weren't the Giants supposed to,
Giants were one of the underdogs.
Yeah, the Denver was plus 12, I think it was.
Something ridiculous.
And they're not losing.
Plus 12. So 9-2 for the underdogs. That makes you think of when you're going to go place a bet. I mean, I don't gamble,
They did
but
twice.
you got to look at that. The
Yeah.
amount of money that was made or lost because of teams like the Giants came out of nowhere and won. The Dolphins weren't supposed to beat the Falcons.
Nope.
Yeah.
Minnesota wasn't supposed to beat Green Bay
Nope.
because of the injury to Brett Favre, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah, when I asked.
But that's a
It was
tragic
Aaron
news
Rodgers, not
story.
Brett Favre.
A really late hit that didn't need to happen.
Legal though. It was legal.
Legal hit. I don't approve of it. There was no flag on the play, no roughing the passer. It's clearly the passer was roughed, and there was no flag. and to top it all off, the jackass wide receiver didn't even make the catch, and it was right in his numbers. You know, make the catch for him. Brett Favre, I keep saying that. Aaron Rodgers only had 2 passes for 19 yards. I feel bad for our buddy Danny Doyle.
Yeah, I offered him a trade. I offered him a trade for a quarterback. I knew he was going to need one, and he laughed at me. He wanted my quarterback. That's not going to happen. So
tough break for them. It really is because
is their season done? Is their season done?
I think he's done.
Yeah, he's done.
He's
They're
done.
saying that he's done for the rest of the season.
Well, yeah, I know that,
The
but-
outlook is not so good.
But look at my-
But
look
the
at my
thing
face is where he
the
said that.
Packers could pull something like signing a quarterback off the street, like
Right.
for example, Tony Romo.
They got Brent
or
Hundley.
somebody like, oh, that's right. That's great. You know what? And the Dolphins had what's his name?
Yeah, the backup guy.
Backup quarterback who I'm forgetting his name, but a huge supporter of, but I can't remember his name right
Well,
now.
if they'll throw anyone in, Colin Kaepernick's looking for a job.
Nobody
don't
wants that circus. Matt
Yeah, but I
Moore.
think
Matt
he's-
Moore's the Dolphins backup.
Yeah,
He knows the
He should have
playbook as
kept
good
Matt
or
Moore.
better than Tannehill, and they signed Cutler with $10 million.
but that's because
So, as I could see on your computer screen, the Aaron Rodgers laying on his wallet, obviously in pain,
the wallet's too.
obviously in agony because his collarbone just got broke.
The other one.
And the other one, this is the
one.
second one.
And this is his throwing shoulder, which could
Yes.
damage the remainder of his career, because his numbers could slide when he eventually comes back. His
Mhm.
yards per game might go down. He might not be able to throw as far down the field. You won't get Hail Marys anymore that go to the end zone. You know, come on. I mean, he's not a spring chicken. You know,
No.
he's up there in years. He's got a million concussions in his career, and he's got broken bones and
Well,
stuff like that. He's
everybody
not
does.
very mobile either. He doesn't fall well when he gets hit. He doesn't take hits well. He's like Bradford. Sam Bradford. Guy's made of glass.
No, that
Made of glass.
that guy was born with. You
I feel
know,
bad for him, and whoever
Yeah.
signed him is out $7 million a year,
but when he's playing, he's healthy. He's great. To be honest with you,
which is like once every 3 plays.
basically,
You know,
that game he was playing with the last game he was playing, they took him out, and they brought in the backup. The backup Kasem did. You can see a difference in the offense. You totally can see it.
Yep.
You know, he comes to the line, he's like dragging his leg to the line, like. Took him out.
Another
Took
big
him out.
story in the NFL. The Steelers knocked off the last undefeated team, Kansas City Chiefs, yesterday.
Oh, that play. at the end
Great
was
spectacle, unbelievable play by Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Absolutely the best receiver in football right now. Hats off. And I have Pittsburgh's defense on my fantasy team, so I was pretty excited that they knocked them off.
I mean, I give him credit because there's also Roethlisberger giving the ball, but that guy has speed, man.
But you know, now there's only two undefeated, two winless teams. There's the Cleveland Browns and the San Francisco 49ers. So those teams are, you know, and I was listening to the radio today. They said the 49ers could easily be 5-1 right now, because the last 5, the first game they lost 23-3. The next 5 they lost by 2 or 3 points per game.
But they're not
5-1 with a bunch of nobodies. It could easily be 5-1, except at 0-6. They compete, unlike the Browns, who just lay down. And the Giants were 0-5, but at least they tried every game. They didn't lay down. I mean, Beckham did, but you know,
when he broke his leg or something.
Sure. Now go ahead. What were you saying,
I have an update about Aaron Rodgers that just came through ESPN 3 minutes ago.
Tell
So
us.
he's undergoing surgery for a broken collarbone, but his status for the rest of the season is unknown.
Okay, he's not coming back.
Typically, they don't even do surgery for a broken clavicle. Typically, a broken clavicle heals itself.
Well, but you and I breaking it is different than him breaking it.
Tannehill didn't have his ACL surgery because he decided to give it time to heal.
Well,
and then he just
whoever told him to do that
the wrong way during practice.
Whoever told him to do that
He's
should
out
be
for the
fired.
season.
Should be
Now he's
fired.
going to have the surgery. It's probably the coke head.
Well, I mean, obviously,
Too soon?
obviously,
it's pretty good.
it's likely he's out for the season, but they're not saying for certain.
He's
Where
all-
I feel like yesterday they were saying he's out for the season, but now they're kind of backpedaling
Well,
a little,
if
like,
you- if
maybe
you-
not.
because they're trying
If
to
he
keep
comes
the-
back
the
when they're
threat.
12-3, I don't think they put him in, because that
No.
means
Right,
Andre
agreed, right.
or whoever's
Is
throwing
on a
for him
streak.
is on a roll,
Right.
and they're not going to put
How
him
much
back
more longer do we have a football season? We're in
in.
October.
This is week 6.
Right.
10 more
So you have-
weeks.
Typically, a broken bone even takes 8 weeks to heal.
4 to
Even a
6 weeks,
surgery,
2 more weeks
typically
after
like
that.
4 to 6 weeks, 8 to be safe.
It wasn't the worst hit that he
Yeah.
could have taken. Like, if the guy was 400 pounds and landed on him, then that could have broken and shattered some things. But because he put his arm down on the turf to kind of catch his fall, which was stupid, that could have contributed to it. It could have snapped it rather than like completely clean broken it if
Right.
somebody landed on him.
Absolutely right.
So there could be a chance, but I wouldn't bring him back as an owner or a coach. Let him heal.
Yeah, no,
Let's get
absolutely,
backups
not at
for
all,
him.
absolutely. So, Drew, do you have any hard feelings over the calls made on the Jets games this past weekend? There's lots of controversy going on in regards
listen.
to quite a few calls during that game
You know,
that people don't agree with.
there's there's plenty of things that every fan says that didn't go right, didn't go their way. Do I believe it's a conspiracy? Not really. Do I believe the refs don't? You know, I think that the definition of certain things need to be a little bit more clarified, because that's where the ambiguity. Did I say that right? Ambiguity is
close enough.
And I think it's a touchdown, but that's just me. Plus, that guy's on my fantasy team, so I want him to score a touchdown. but you know, you can't worry about those refs, because guess what? They're not going to change. So either the rules change or the refs stay, and they're going to stay. So,
but you can't hang the win or the loss on that one play.
No, because you know what? They could have not punted 4 or 5 times. They could have scored more often than needing that last play. So I'm not going to cry about that. No.
Oh, you know what? They had a 14-0 lead early in the game, which they couldn't hold.
You know, I'd rather lose a game by a little bit and show up a good game versus winning a game by something cheap. You know,
they played really well. They played well the past couple of games.
That's why I'm thinking. You know what? That's why I'm not going to cry about it, because we'll get that. Every dog has his day. Our day will come.
I'm looking at the play right now, Drew. I don't know if you can see my computer screen. I know it's a radio show, everybody. Sorry. But you can see clearly as he's going over the line right here that the ball is in between his arm and his jersey.
Right.
And there's
but as he comes down and hits that pylon, he's got control of it. And at that point,
this can't be considered a catch if he's not holding the ball. The ball's just kind of traveling with him. And as long as the ball's on the ground,
he still has the opportunity to hold that ball and control it.
Right. But as he's going out of
bounds, he does control it.
It sounds like bad ball control to me.
He's just a Jets fan, you know.
But
nothing worse than bad ball.
Moving on, another big win we had this weekend: Hurricanes.
Yes.
Took on Georgia Tech.
Yep.
25-24. That was an exciting game. It came down to the very wire.
They didn't have a lot of hoopla in Atlanta for that game. So
really,
no, I didn't even know who was playing. Now the Dolphins game was playing, because I got there like, why are people winning these?
There are other teams that are bigger in Georgia, like
not
Georgia,
in Atlanta,
like
but not in Atlanta. Atlanta is Georgia Tech.
Okay. But I mean, are they playing well right now?
They always play well. No, were they ranked? No.
Then nobody cares.
But they always have a good team. They always play a good team. And
But if they're not ranked,
they beat the Canes like a number of times in a row. So they're the spoilers.
The Canes should be good.
They're all the spoilers. That's what they are.
They are, but it came down to the last wire. We are in Miami, so it was very exciting as Darrell Langham made another miracle happen. A 28-yard catch on a tipped 4th down ball, keeping desperate Miami's drive alive and setting up Michael Bagley's 24-yard goal with 4 seconds left as the 11th-ranked Hurricanes somehow rallied to stun Georgia Tech 25-24. Again, that was Saturday evening.
Question. Metal.
Yes.
Your opinion.
I'm here.
Is it harder to kick a field goal in college than it is in pros?
I mean, it really depends on how far away. There's so many elements, Drew.
Right. Aside from nature,
you gotta have a good holder. That's key. The holder sucks, you know.
But it's always that weird angle in college. It's all to the left,
because
all to the right.
It's where the last play ended. They're on the hash marks on the right or the left.
Right.
That'll determine where they're going to set up for the kick. So you see that way more in college, because I think the kids aren't as aware of the ball placement as the pros are.
Right.
Not like the pros are going to keep it in the middle of the field every time. But unless you get the play to go out of bounds, they're going to set up more towards one side or the other, depending on where the play ended. There's so many elements that go into it. Every college team plays outside, to my knowledge.
It's just that I think it's a longer field goal when you come from that angle.
Yeah, because now it's got to go a certain trajectory in one direction or another. Right. Wind's a factor. Distance is a factor. Like I said, there's no college team that I'm aware of that plays in a dome. So everybody's outside. Right. So there's always a weather factor.
Syracuse, some other people in the dome.
I was going to say, maybe some who play in well, right now we have the Hurricanes using Dolphin Stadium. Well, what are they now? Hard Rock Stadium.
Hard Rock Stadium.
I was going to say Hurricane Stadium. I think of Hard Rock.
We're going to get sued.
Great. There we go. Thanks, John.
Call it the football stadium in Miami. It's better say it that way.
All right. It's Joe Robbie Stadium. That's what it is. It's Joe Robbie.
It's always, honestly, it's always Joe Robbie.
Built on an Indian burial ground.
Wait, you moved the tombstones, but you forgot to move the body.
Should we just call it Seminole Stadium at this point?
No, we shouldn't.
And the FSU, come on over.
Oh boy. No, they lost to FSU.
I know they did, but I'm an FSU fan.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Drew, it really depends on the foot that is kicking the field goal. Okay. That's really the only answer I can give you.
So anyway, it's fine.
It's easier to kick off a tee and get it through the uprights than it is, kick off somebody's foot, somebody's hand who's holding the ball. and you got a million big people running at you, and you have about 2.5 seconds to kick
Less
the
than
ball.
that, right?
Meanwhile, a train wreck's coming at you at the same time.
Full speed.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I mean, trust me, that would be a cool job to have. I mean, they make a lot of money, and they're responsible for most of the wins and losses. I put it on the kicker, the most.
You got one job. You just got
Agreed.
one job.
Okay, so moving back to fantasy football, any hot picks that you recommend this week, Chris?
Yes,
Little?
Deshaun Watson.
And he's where? He's for what? What's his position?
He is quarterback for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, well, some of y'all are short of quarterback. I gotta
I-
check
it's too
my
late.
quarterbacks.
I got him already. It's too late.
I mean, my team's 3-2. I'm playing against Bogey right now. He's got one guy going tonight, and I'm leading by I think 20 points.
Who's he got? Do you know?
Eric Decker for Tennessee, wide receiver. So I don't think
He might
gonna.
win.
I don't think he's gonna get 20 points worth of.
You're playing him?
He's that Bogey.
No.
No, he's saying something. I'm not sure what he's saying.
Oh, I'm playing Bogey.
I'm playing Bogey. I'm playing
Oh,
Bogey.
forgive me. I'm sorry.
Bogey has me by 3-4 points.
Well, he's got Eric Decker going.
I
tonight.
lost on both of my teams last week from the same quarterback. Who did you have playing? I lost against Drew, and another team I was playing, and it was the same quarterback that
Watson?
made me lose. Yeah, it was Watson.
Guy's a machine.
Oh yeah, because the first week he scored 80 points, and I'm like, he scored 5 touchdowns. I'm like, man, I gotta grab him. So I put him on waiver. I'm like, please nobody grab him. Please nobody grab him. Please nobody grab him. Nobody grabbed him, so I picked him up this week.
I think we need to get more involved in our trade, Siobhan.
I'm happy with my team. They're doing
Are
well
you seeing-
finally.
My team's doing okay. Hopefully we'll win this week. Sorry, Lou. My team could be playing better. Sometimes I sit a lot of points, play the wrong person, or 3 players combined for 13 points.
But you know what?
Yeah,
Don't
pretty bad.
never worry about seeing the wrong person. Only because you made a decision, you stuck with it, you did it.
Oh yeah.
You never know. And you know what? As far as the
Exactly.
predictions, as far as those prediction percentiles, projections, they're full of crap. They're full. Not one week have I been close to any
because
number
they
that
can't-
I've been given on either on the NFL Fantasy Football League or on Yahoo.
But they can't predict things like, Aaron Rodgers breaking his collarbone.
Oh, I understand that. But I'm talking way off. Every week, it's just been awful. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we have news that didn't happen. We've got odd news. And then we're going to go ahead and give some tips and advice that we have learned over our journey with the Susan G. Komen Foundation this past year. So make sure you stay tuned with us and Now Trending right here on 24/7 Miami Radio.
Quinn, and you're on 24/7 Miami. Wee! Wahoo! Whoopee! Yay! Yay!
You're listening to 24/7 Miami Radio.
Hey, it's the guys from the couch, and we're coming to you now live on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock with your favorite segments like Simple Jack and
W. Dubai knows it all.
catch us every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. live on 247miami.tv.
We talk about sports and other things. Like what? W eating chips. I can't put these chips down. 247miami.tv. The couch.
Hello, everyone. This is Drew from Now Trending. And usually I'm driving the bus in the show, keeping it from riding off on the rails. Every Monday from 4 to 6 on 247miami.tv.
Oh, boys! I'm back!
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Roy from The Roy O Show. Just letting you know, guess what? The Roy O Show, it's back, baby. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. It's going to be Prosper, O, and yours truly covering everything. Sports, TV, entertainment, comics, Walking Dead, you name it, we're talking about it. Join us this Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. only on 247miami.tv.
It's Now Trending. Make sure you catch a new episode every Monday from 4 to 6 on 247miami.tv.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Saturday.
Join me, Siobhan, every Sunday for the latest episode of Day by Day. From Alzheimer's Awareness Month to International Bacon Day. Find out what's happening this week and how these observances got started.
Each day.
Because each day counts.
Day by day. By day.
You're listening to 24/7 Miami Radio.
Oh, boys!
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Roy from The Roy O Show. Just letting you know, guess what? The Roy O Show, it's back, baby. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. It's going to be Prosper, O, and yours truly covering everything. Sports, TV, entertainment, comics, Walking Dead, you name it, we're talking about it. Join us this Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. only on 247miami.tv.
Out trending every Monday from
4 to 6
on 247miami.tv.
This is Chris Metal here for Now Trending, coolest show on 247miami.tv. Join us every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Joy Canizero, your host, Drew Dawkins, Siobhan, and Chris Metal. Every Monday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern on 247miami.tv.
You're listening to 24/7 Miami Radio.
Hiya, this is Harley
Topping the
Quinn,
box
and you're
office.
on 24/7 Miami. Wee! Wahoo! Whoopee! Get it!
Topping the box office this weekend. Number 3.
Mr. Hennessy, please find out the names of the bombers. I work for the government, not terrorists. You used to work for them. I don't know who the bombers are. I don't believe in you.
The Foreigner with 12.8 million. Number 2.
I always told you, you're special. Your story isn't over yet. There's still a page left.
Blade Runner 2049 with 15.1 million and 60.5 million overall. And number 1.
Assuming that I believe any of this is even possible, the way I see it, you have unlimited amount of lives, unlimited opportunities to solve your own murder.
Happy Death Day with 26.5 million. Opening this week.
He's been watching us the whole time. Building snowmen, cutting things up into little pieces. He's taunting us. If we don't find him, this is never going to stop.
The Snowman. Detective Harry Hole investigates the disappearance of a woman whose pink scarf is found wrapped around an ominous-looking snowman. Starring Michael Fassbender, Rebecca Ferguson, and Val Kilmer.
The Senate committee will now hear from Jacob Lawson, Climate ISS Chief Coordinator. May the record reflect that he was nearly 1 hour late.
Yeah, sorry about that. I literally had to fly in from outer space.
Geostorm. When the network of satellites designed to control the global climate start to attack Earth, it's a race against the clock to uncover the real threat before a worldwide geostorm wipes out everything and everyone. Starring Gerard Butler, Abby Cornish, and Mayor Winningham.
Hey, partner, I got this sister of mine that I've been wanting dead for a long time. You think you can help me with that?
Tyler Perry's Boo 2, a Medea Halloween. Medea, Bam, and Hattie venture to a haunted campground, and the group must run for their lives when monsters, goblins, and the boogeyman are unleashed. Starring Tyler Perry, Patrice Lovely, and Brock O'Hearn.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Hiya, this is Harley Quinn, and you're on 24/7 Miami. Wee! Wahoo! Whoopee! Get it!
And we are back to Now Trending right here on 24/7 Miami Radio. Again, you can find us in a few places. You can find us over on Facebook at facebook.com/Now Trending 247. In addition, you can find us on Twitter. Trending 247 place, even on YouTube, right, Drew?
Yeah.
Are we over there too?
Yeah,
We're just
I'm
everywhere. So make sure you guys stay tuned again. We're going to talk a little bit about the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure that we were at over the weekend. We're going to get into some tips and advice that we did learn later on into this segment. However, make sure you do stay tuned to our social media pages as we will be posting interviews, tips, advice, lots of things that we learned and people we discussed with on our social media pages throughout the month of October, being that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Feel your tatas, everybody, even men. Breast cancer also happens in men. That's one thing that we have learned.
You're telling us to feel your tatas? Is that what you're telling us?
Everybody, and don't feel bad about feeling your
Let's
tatas.
say everybody takes the shirts off then.
Okay, fine.
You guys first.
Let's see. I don't know, because everybody there kept telling us, don't be afraid to touch yourself, like the whole event. Like anybody we spoke to that was
That's
big,
probably another good reason I didn't go.
they'd start touching themselves, and they'd say, It's very important.
As we're
so
interviewing
wrong.
them, they
As
start
we're interviewing,
examining themselves.
everybody was examining themselves.
That is so wrong.
I just thought of that now.
It happened a few
But
times.
it was true. It was a few times. We were interviewing and
Even
people were...
Yvonne Taylor started doing
Yvonne Taylor, yes, from Univision 23. He was feeling himself because he was also talking about men and breast cancer and
You hear me, Chris? I feel myself, okay?
everybody.
How do you feel?
It's really serious, though. You know, the thing is, like I said, I'm going to get on with news that really didn't happen. However, that was one of the discussions over this weekend is how back in the early 80s when Nancy Brinker went ahead and started Susan G. Komen Foundation, it was a disease that was hush-hush. It was, you know, something to be, I don't want to say shunned, but it really was.
You didn't discuss it in proper company.
You didn't discuss it because breasts, even to say breasts back then, there was something wrong with it. So again, it's okay to talk about it. You should be talking about it. And, you know, and learning just different things about the disease, because at this point, prevention is what's making a difference in the cure.
Early detection.
Early detection, absolutely. So again, we're going to give more tips later, but I just had to throw that in. Feel your tatas, everybody, on the camera.
We'll be
John, don't leave me hanging.
We'll be glad to help. We'll be glad to help, ladies.
So moving on to not real news. This is news that didn't happen. However, it's been making major headlines this past week on the internet. One's first story we start off with: NFL introduces new rule to ban players from protesting during the national anthem. That was the headline. However, again, it is false. The facts are, Commissioner Roger Goodell's memo to club executives this week reiterated the NFL's preference that players stand for the anthem, but did not change any existing league policies. The memo sparked multiple false stories reporting a shift in policy and relating it to Trump's criticism of the league for not firing players, including headlines like Trump breaks NFL commissioner and Goodell raises white flag. NFL spokesman Joe Lockhart said potential changes to the anthem policy would be discussed at an owners meeting next week. So again, there is no new rule to ban players from protesting during the national anthem. Those are the facts, people. Did you guys see that story?
I did hear
because
that.
it didn't really happen.
But
the thing is
I
that
did
it's
hear that.
circulating.
Not everybody watches CNN.
Right. But even online, you know, I think that's where we see a lot of these stories. People don't read a story and they just post. They just see the headline, you know, and they post, and that's it.
Well, it's probably posted from Russia, but it's okay.
Could be. Moving on to the next story that really didn't happen, but made major headlines this past week. Again, it involves President Trump. The headline read, President Trump signs executive order stripping NFL of nonprofit status. Again.
Sounds like something he'd do.
True. However, it wasn't true. The facts are.
That's what Drew was thinking. I could read his
He
mind.
was. It's written all over his
I'm
face.
sorry, I'm still back on the Susan G. Komen thing.
Oh.
Are you feeling your tatas?
It's a good thing you weren't there
As
either,
I'm talking, you're over there feeling your tatas.
Some tatas.
Please
Yeah,
tell me.
Michelle.
It makes me feel special. I feel. Thanks, Drew. I'm glad while I'm discussing news, you want to feel your tatas. So again, the facts of the story are the NFL gave up its tax-exempt status in 2015. The 32 individual teams pay federal tax on all revenue, from ticket sales to merchandise to sponsorship to broadcast revenue. Multiple sites, including Freedom Junction, a satire site, published a false story that Trump signed the order on October 8th, accompanied by a photo of Trump at an unrelated event. The stories followed Trump's tweet on Tuesday, falsely saying the league was getting massive tax breaks, in his continued criticism of some players who have declined to stand for the national anthem in a protest of racial inequality.
Not true.
Not true. Those were the facts. Last not true story, but again made headlines this week. Chicago Cubs say Obama is still their president. Trump not welcome at playoff games. Untrue story. The facts are the defending World Series champions haven't barred the president from Wrigley Field for their ongoing playoff run. A story from the Daily Feed News also claims the Cubs said in a statement, Trump is not our president. The organization has issued no such statement and hasn't publicly criticized Trump. In fact, the Cubs visited with Trump in the Oval Office in June.
I don't think Trump's going to be going to any playoff games. If he does, it would be a Yankees game, but you know, that's probably not where he's going to be. Not probably where he's going to be spending his time right now.
He's busy working on healthcare
and ripping the
and other things.
North Korea.
Little Rocket Man, go on.
Huh? Little Rocket Man?
Yeah, go on.
Little Rocket Man, yes. We need to take care of the Little Rocket Man. Have you guys seen the baby costume?
Oh no.
There's
There's a Halloween costume for this.
Look at the cat. Look at the cat.
I gotta find that.
It's a Kim Jong-un.
Look at the cat. Look at the kitty cat. Look at the kitty cat.
I've seen some crazy things. I think it's time. Remember when we used to have those little plastic costumes, the little plastic with the little mask?
The elastic string that always like snapped in the back of your head.
Yeah,
You couldn't breathe everything.
You couldn't breathe. They smelled funny. They
smelled
stunk.
like wet plastic.
Didn't it?
Like,
There was
like
just
death.
something.
2 little tiny holes for your nostrils. You know.
But they were the best though. But you know what? As you get older, you learn to appreciate those things. And now that we don't have them, like I would do anything for those little.
It looks like little pajamas that didn't fit
And the
because they were.
plastic thing that just went over you like a rain slicker.
It's kind of like a trash can.
The last one I ever owned when I was like 7, Optimus Prime. And the Optimus Prime mask with the elastic strap. And then it had this thing, it looks like an apron.
Exactly.
When you were painting.
Yeah.
You know, and it had a picture of Optimus Prime on the front, Transformer logo.
They were pajamas.
The back was
pajamas that didn't
shirt.
fit. So like pajamas that didn't fit.
Terrible.
It's like to your ankles.
And
My mom-
kids went nuts for these things.
I had a strawberry shortcake one.
My mom
This
always
one
made
strawberries?
me. My mom always made me Dracula or a witch. I don't know why. And every year, but we really didn't get like those costumes. But my mom had more fun just painting our faces and spraying that crap in
That
our
lead
hair.
line paint.
It was like it took 3 days to get out.
Go
Like,
to school the next day.
Yeah. And meanwhile, she'd put me in the bath, screaming and cussing. When I got the stuff in my hair. She put it in there. But every year, I was either a witch or I was just like a Dracula. I always remember those.
You only have easy to do.
Hmm?
They were easy to do.
They were. It was
They
just
came in a little box with a clear plastic thing on the front. You saw the mask.
They did. It
And
was
under
just
the mask was that stupid apron thing that was all folded up,
Yep.
and it was like
plastic.
$5.
And you breathe
Something
it.
like that.
And your little tiny slit for your mouth.
That
Yes.
plastic.
So you
I
tongue
can still
through it.
smell that wet plastic.
I can still smell the plastic.
That's
I-
death.
Oh,
That's
man.
plastic is death.
So moving on, we're
Those
gonna
didn't
get.
come with warning labels on them either.
Yes, they did. It's a don't
No,
open a
they
box.
Now they'd have them. They'd have them now. They'd have warning
Well, they
labels.
probably made of lead back then. That's
I
probably
wonder if
why.
these week. I'm gonna see if I can find just one of them. There has to be somewhere on the internet somewhere.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to have one of those.
I told you.
Who would have thought enough to put a bunch of those away?
Oh,
in a
they
warehouse,
did.
like
They
next to the
collected them. They
Teddy
probably caught on
Ruxpins, you know?
fire or
If
something.
you tried to unfold one of those, it would just crumble into nothing right now. Like if you saved it for 30 years.
You try to
no.
fold one of those, you'd get poisoning. That's what will happen.
Those were the
That
good old
elastic would
days.
still snap in the back of your head. You know what I mean?
Right?
And then you're crap out of luck too if like you're trick or treating and
And
the
the
elastic
elastic was
band broke.
And it was held by like a little piece of metal like this.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Then you have no mask. It's like what good is I'm not gonna get
You
it
hold
again.
it up.
I think we have issues. I'm glad we all agree about this. The one thing we all agree about.
Man, those things were the worst.
Oh, memories.
They are. So moving on with odd news stories that did happen this week. However, they're just odd.
I have one.
Oh God.
Do you?
Yeah, you go with yours.
Yeah, we'll go with ours. Yeah, we'll do ours and then we got it. And then we'll hear yours because we'll have time. So over in Des Moines, Iowa, the Iowa State Patrol says a man pulled over in Des Moines after a car pursuit told state troopers that he wanted to be chased because it was on his bucket list. Des Moines television station KCCI reports that the man refused to halt a little before 7:30 a.m. Thursday when a trooper tried to stop him over a violation on Interstate 80. The 10 to 15-minute chase ended soon after he left the interstate. He was taken into custody. That's when 46-year-old Des Moines resident shared his bucket list story with troopers. Court records don't show that the man has been charged as of yet.
Why do people do these things?
What's
wrong with some
We should
people?
all bring in our bucket list next week and see if
I
there's
was
something
just going to
as
say,
crazy
I
on
think,
it.
No.
okay, I agree. Yeah, let's
No.
bring in a bucket list next week and we all compare
No.
bucket lists just to make sure that we have normal ideas. I don't want.
This is very simple.
Why wouldn't you want, like, okay, say, Drew, what if you have something like a police car chase on your bucket list?
That's the last thing on my bucket list.
I think you should let us know so us here, your friends, can talk you out of it
What we should do is put them in the middle of the table and each grab one without a name on it.
and decide whose
pick
bucket
one
list.
crazy thing on it and see who it
Okay,
is.
okay, then I'll do that. I'm
So
for
there
it.
we got a game for next week.
That's a good idea.
We can do it right now.
That's
Come
a
on.
really good idea.
No, because I need to be creative with this. Are we
Yeah,
doing a
all
full
we-
bucket list or are we doing?
You can put a whole list or just a partial list.
Yeah.
And we pick one, we pick the craziest thing on the list.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah,
But
but everybody
everybody-
bring
but
their
everybody-
bucket list, but no name.
But you have to do like
because
this. You have to type it up because that way you can't recognize handwritings and Yeah, you have
Good
no
call.
idea.
But does anyone in this room have a police chase on their bucket list?
No.
Charles?
I'm going to have to
Did the
reach-
thought ever cross you in the corner over there?
Let me ask you a question. Why you ask me and Charles that question?
Don't even.
Oh, shots fired!
Oh my goodness.
Shields up.
And that's why
Shields up.
Donald Trump is your president.
That hurts. That hurts.
Just on the direct hit.
Shields. Shields.
Siobhan,
Goes Frazier.
Okay.
Down goes Frazier.
go ahead with your audience, Siobhan.
Some people celebrate this and some people fear it, but it is Friday the 13th, which we had last Friday.
Oh, God.
And on that day, the final flight to Helsinki, Finland, flight number 666,
Very nice.
took its last flight. It departed at 1300 hours or 1 p.m. And
The flower cemetery? Good God. Love that.
and it went smoothly. I mean, it's not, I mean, that's all I can build up.
Because
to
there's
this
no one on
day.
that plane?
No, actually,
It does.
there
It gets
were people.
full. Yeah, there are. Dude, Lou, it goes.
Helsinki. Where did it leave from? It says from Copenhagen to Helsinki, so it's not a very long flight.
You've never heard of that flight before? I was gonna say that's only because
I've definitely heard of it.
no, we've had ties in the airline
It's
industry,
the
and it
official
just
flight to the Chris Metal Radio Show.
Well, this was, kind of one of those things. It's been making this flight for the last 11 years.
Mhm.
And in that time, over the past 11 years, flight has flown on a Friday the 13th 21 times. And of course, this Friday was the last one. Drew's shaking his head. He wouldn't do it.
right, and it's still
It wouldn't
Helsinki.
have been close to that. They wouldn't even been in the airport. I should have been in the airport.
But the airport code is HEL, so that's why they say
But you can
the
still
flight to
fly.
hell.
That's cool, though.
You can still fly from Sin to Hell, which is Singapore. And this flight is now going to be renamed AY954. So not as exciting.
954, Broward County?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
But yeah, so the final flight for Flight 666 happened last Friday, and it landed smoothly. I mean, I don't know. I probably wouldn't read too much into it, but I know
Really?
some people
I would.
apparently Drew.
No,
like,
I was
"No,
just
get me
I
off
was
this
just
thing."
gonna ask that. I would not. First of all, okay, thanks, Drew. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't take that flight. Before we had our show today, Drew and I went downstairs to get iced coffee, and the same thing happened with the elevator. There was 2 elevators. One hadn't
I'm
come
sorry,
yet.
but this is a problem with that elevator. I am not
Yeah,
taking
that
back
one
my
always
second.
sticks a little
Listen,
bit.
the door opens, right? It's a free elevator. I go walking in. Drew sticks his head in. And he says, no, get out.
Why?
We're waiting for the next one.
I'm sorry.
And
I just got
he
the
told me to go
heebie-jeebies.
inside and push a button for it to go
I
inside
told her to send it
and push a
upstairs.
button to send it up. So,
You should push every button.
so I went inside and pushed the button so it went away so the next elevator would come. But he would. I walked in and it was hot and steamy. But he.
Why didn't you want that one, Drew?
I don't know. It just
Dude,
You got a bad vibe? from
yeah.
it?
It did.
Yeah, spider senses went off. Like, I'm not.
He
getting
stuck.
this.
He only stuck his head. His body didn't go. He just stuck his
That
head.
thing was moving and
And he
vibrating. Like,
looked, and I'm already in it. I'm standing inside the elevator, and he just peeked his head in. He said,
Tell me.
no, come out. And he's like, push the button. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, we're not taking this elevator. Push the button so it goes away so the next one
I'll tell you
comes.
something. When I tell you,
I would have.
I'm telling you, don't ask questions. Don't ask questions.
I didn't ask questions. Let's walk out, push the
It's
button.
like if you see me running,
Wait
just
for
run
the next
behind me, girl.
elevator. But no, I wouldn't fly. I would not fly in Finland Air Flight 666.
But will you now that it's been renamed 954? I mean, it's the same
Yeah.
flight.
Oh, that now. Yeah. I mean, like I said,
Now it's gonna go
I'm
right.
not as far superstitious. Go ahead.
We do a flight out of Miami to Helsinki.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's lots of. But that's like hell to hell.
Oh my God, Lou! I got a bone to pick with you.
Oh boy.
It's apparently your airport now.
Yeah, it's your airport.
It's your airport, our president. Moving on over to Lehigh Acres, where exciting stuff happens. That's why I chose this story, because this really fits in over on that side. Authorities say a man tried to jump his car over a canal in a Florida neighborhood, but didn't make it. WFTX reports that the car had to be towed from Lehigh Acres Canal on Tuesday after it failed to clear the 20 feet between both sides. Before attempting, just get this. Before attempting the jump, witnesses were quoted as telling the television station the man drove to the edge of the canal and got out of the car to observe the distance. Lee County deputies say the man wasn't injured, but the Toyota Corolla was totaled. Investigators say they weren't sure why the man attempted the jump, noting he only had to drive a few blocks to get to the other side.
I know why.
No charges were reported, and the man has not been
I know why.
identified.
I know why. Because he's stupid. That's why.
It's like he just had to drive a few blocks, but instead, and he got out of his car to measure the distance of the canal and really thought his little Toyota Corolla was going to jump the 20 feet canal.
What's on the other side that he wanted to get to so badly?
McDonald's.
I don't know.
Chick-fil-A.
Valero?
Valero.
Wawa. It was the Wawa.
There's only one car that I know of that can make that jump. And that is the
General Lee, baby.
It's a
That's it.
hazard.
Yeah.
All right.
And without
Maybe
that
every
car,
Friday
the
night.
Toyota Corolla will not make it.
Sorry.
My Dodge Charger might make it, but the Corolla will not.
Well, do we give him bonus points for getting out of the vehicle to check?
I'll give him credit for that. That was smart.
He was using his brain at some point, right?
Exactly.
I'll give him a few points for the old college try.
I was trying to calculate. Okay,
But
yeah.
depending on how far he actually made it, which I think is maybe 5
He
feet.
probably slammed on the other shore.
No, because you got to figure the engine's really heavy. So as soon as he cleared, it
It
went
just straight down.
It didn't go like a commercial was coming on Dukes and just suspended in midair. It just went down like a sack of doorknobs. You know, down goes Fraser.
Down goes Fraser.
Down goes Corolla.
He crashed right to the bank. I bet you he did.
Unbelievable. What a chucklehead.
No, it's Lehigh Acres, Florida. Go ahead, Siobhan.
Where's that? Where's
The
that?
middle of the state. Yeah,
Where
like a
nobody
choke.
wants to go, and we try not to know where that place is.
You
That's
roll your windows up and you lock the door. And don't stare at people staring at you.
Okay.
Okay, Arizona authorities say a saloon shooting in the old west town of Tombstone put one man in the hospital with a leg wound and another in jail. The Cochise County Sheriff's Office says the shooting occurred in Doc Holliday's saloon when the two men struggled following a verbal altercation that also involved a woman and a third man. Sheriff's spokeswoman Carol Kappas says 47-year-old James Edward Robertson remains jailed on suspicion of aggravated assault and other crimes. He and his female companion surrendered their handguns to the bartender when they entered the saloon on Friday night, and that the struggle and shooting occurred after the couple retrieved their guns Saturday morning. So apparently they had been drinking all night. It's not immediately known attorney who can comment on his behalf, but Tombstone was the site of the infamous 1881 gunfight at the OK Corral between lawmen and outlaws. It also was the home of Doc Holliday, who was a dentist who played a role in the shootout. Now, this might be on someone's bucket list that they want to be in a shootout. Doc Holliday's Tombstone.
I'll be your
OK Corral.
Huckleberry.
I'll be Johnny Ringo.
I'll be a Huckleberry.
So, anyway, smartness ensued.
They still call places saloons, like a bar. Like,
Well, there, yeah.
There, yeah, you got the whole,
It's still
old
set up.
west to the saloon.
It's still set up as an old city. That's why.
I just it's, ghost town.
Right.
I just figured, like, back in the days, they called them saloons, but somehow we just started calling them
in
bars.
places like Tombstone, Arizona. You call it
West
saloon.
could be a Miss Kitty running the bar, you know, like,
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Gunsmoke.
Welcome, boys. Glad you can make it.
It's got the, you know, the
Okay,
big,
Siobhan, you want to go hang over
got
at
the big
saloons?
dress on with the gigantic bazooms, you know, and then there's a guy dealing poker in the corner.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
And then just some random shootout, you know, and then it's just, you know, back to a round of shots.
Back to a round of shots.
There you go.
You hear the bar, you hear them put the glasses on the bar, and then the
Yeah,
jug comes out.
Just rounds on us.
Now they go through those swinging doors onto the street.
Yes, swinging doors.
My parents used to have swinging doors like that in their bedroom.
Oh my
had the cowboy hat on the door.
She just blew my board. Look at that board just blew.
Swinging doors on their bedroom.
Well, it was, you know, not on their
Hey.
bedroom door, on their closet door. Going in,
Nah,
they had a walk-in
that's
closet.
even better.
It would into their walk-in closet.
That's even better.
And it felt like an old-time saloon.
I'm quite sure.
I'd like
Did he
slam
call
it
it-
open and
Did they call her Miss Kitty?
No, you know what happened? No, like
I don't know.
house.
When they
Shall
shut
be.
the accordion doors to their bedroom, maybe. I don't know.
They wear spurs walking through.
Who knows?
But it's funny you say that, just even how back in the day,
Put him over here.
you know, but how houses were designed, like, or just, you know, the features houses had, like you said, like swinging doors or like beads. We had beaded curtains for doors
We had
everywhere.
beads.
We had
Oh, they're
beads.
cool.
They're cool until they break.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, they don't hold weight very well. So you can't swing
You
across
can't
them.
swing on them like George in the jungle.
Well, he couldn't sneak up on anybody either. No way.
But we had cans of, like, okay, the cookie cans that usually grandma puts the sewing stuff in, we had those filled with beads also.
Oh, wow.
You know, one day to string them back to put the curtains back together again. Who thought of beaded curtains?
It's not a very good
70s,
curtain.
baby, 70s.
I know, but it was just even we used them as doorways. We used them as decorations. And I always say I'm going to build a mom cave and I want a beaded door.
We had one in college in my dorm room. We had a beaded curtain.
I was joy of the jungle, swinging out my grandma's beaded curtains as they busted everywhere.
Let me tell you something. Don't worry, I was also swinging through the city of New York.
We always find one
I know,
too.
but the thing is, and then you get your rear end whooped. You knew not to touch the beaded things because they were going to fall and bead everywhere, but you just had to touch them.
And you fell on them.
And then they pull, and there'd be beads on the what is it,
There's
the terrazzo floor?
everywhere.
And you didn't find everything. And they'd scream and yell and.
Oh my goodness!
You find the last one when you moved. You know,
Yeah.
right?
When you moved, you found the last bead.
behind something that you didn't want to.
What is this? Oh yeah.
I wonder if Amazon has beaded doorway
I
curtains.
guarantee they.
I gotta find some. Moving on to New Jersey. A New Jersey man says a television news report led him to check lottery tickets he had stuffed in an old shirt, and one was for $24 million.
Shut up! Shut up!
Jimmy Smith of East Orange claimed a $24.1 million New York lottery jackpot on May 23rd, 2 days before the prize would have expired. The New York Lottery released his name Wednesday after a review was completed. The retired security guard told lottery officials he's been buying lottery tickets in New York and New Jersey since the 1960s, but doesn't rush to see whether he's won. He said he'd check them when he had time. Smith says he bought the ticket from a grocery and tobacco shop in Manhattan's Tribeca neighborhood. He chose to receive the payout over 26 years.
I have a lottery ticket in my car that I haven't checked.
Check it before it expires.
Yeah, I got a couple.
It's kind of making me think.
Yeah,
I would. And it was the
Yeah.
news. It was actually the news that made him look. And it was 2 days prior to expiring before he went and checked it. And it was just sitting over in an old shirt. Imagine you had all that money, $24.1 million, and it's just been sitting in your closet.
I can only hope.
I can only pray.
We all go home and search for our lottery tickets and run to the machine at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, right. Not a winner. Not a winner. Not a winner. I'm sorry. Let me have your ticket. You can go home. Not a winner. Not a winner.
Well, with that being said, that was all for our odd. Oh, you had an odd news.
I
Chris
do.
Meadow, give us odd news before we talk about your tatas.
My tatas.
Our tatas.
Everyone's
thank you.
tatas.
The headline reads: New fears for Hillary Clinton's health after twisted ankle or broken toe derails her book tour.
Oh.
Hillary Clinton apparently fell and injured her foot Monday during her overseas book tour in the UK, prompting her to cancel or delay interviews with British journalists before resurfacing on a BBC program. As with previous Clinton health scares, the details are a bit unclear. I'm reading this. I'm not making this up. As one host called out Clinton for missing an interview, her spokesman initially said she twisted her ankle. He tweeted a picture of Clinton wearing a special boot during a separate appearance on the BBC's Graham Norton show. But in that appearance, Clinton said she actually broke her toe after apparently running down the stairs in heels and falling backwards. So let me just read that sentence back and let's figure out how, in fact, she did this. But in that appearance, Clinton said she actually broke her toe after apparently running down the stairs in heels and falling backward. So if she's running forward down the stairs, how can she fall backwards?
She had to be running facing
Because she
the
lost
wrong
her
way.
balance. If she loses her balance, she can fall that way.
Mm.
And her shoe might have gotten caught in between the steps.
I bet it was the Russians.
No, I guarantee it's Russians.
I do. So moving on with that, go ahead.
That's it. I'm sure more details will develop and we'll have a follow-up next week.
Oh, that's a good idea. Follow us up on that story, Chris Metal. Siobhan, some tips that you've learned along our journey with Susan G. Komen this past year.
Well, I thought one of the most interesting things I learned was I can't remember his name. The
Doctor.
Doctor.
I just wrote that
the
down.
man
Did you see that?
doctor.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name though?
I'll tell you. Go ahead.
The
As
man
you
doctor.
read-
Wow, man doctor.
It was doctor. It had two N's. because
The
his
boyfriend
nurse,
of Nancy Brinker.
Dr. Zinner.
Dr. Zinner, yes. He said that breast cancer is the #1 type of cancer in Miami, which was kind of shocking to me. I didn't realize, and I don't know why. He said there are many factors contributing to that, and he didn't really go into detail. But yeah, breast cancer is the #1 type of cancer in Miami.
Yeah, in Miami.
Go figure. So, even more reason to be aware since we're living here, it might affect us more.
Absolutely. Another thing, mammograms are starting to happen earlier than the age of 40. Over the past 20 years, especially, women like us, we go to the doctor. Everybody says, oh, you don't have to do that. Wait till you're 40. It's always a put it off to your 40, put it off to your 40. Mm-hmm. However, as we're learning more about this disease, the second that you feel that something is wrong, I think that's one of the most important things that we learned as well this weekend, or just over the course of this year, is that if you do feel that there's something wrong, if you do feel that there's something different, go ahead and check it out. Don't ignore it. Go to a doctor, get it checked out. Because again, it's prevention, it's early detection, which seems to be the biggest factor in the cure, or at least, when it comes to saving lives. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, we're going to shortly end our show. However, we have an announcement from Platinum Pro Wrestling. They are going to be presenting Sundown Throwdown Saturday, October 28th at the Platinum Pro Arena. They've got title matches going on, like the PPW Silverweight Championship title match. We've got Max Stardom going against El Blanco Loco. We've got Johnny Knockout and Romeo Quevedo, the tag team match going on. So there's going to be a lot more matches going on. So check them out on Facebook. That's Platinum Pro Wrestling, facebook.com/Platinum Pro Wrestling. So that being said, it's been a very exciting week. Hope everybody enjoyed it. We had lots to talk about, lots of good laughs today, even at inappropriate times. As you guys.
As usual.
So with that being said, we hope you tune in to us next week again, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at 247miami.tv. This is now Trending signing off. Have a great week, everybody, and stay tuned next week. Also, make sure you stay tuned onto our social media pages, as we have lots of interviews that we'll be posting throughout this month again for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast. I did. That'll be next. Breast. I know. I'm tired of talking today.
Thank you, Mike Tyson.
You're welcome. So have a great week, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Later.
Bye.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Hiya, this is Harley Quinn, and you're on 24/7 Miami. Wee! Wahoo! Whoopee! Yay! Yay! Yay!